What's good? What's good? What's good, fans? This is
What's
your
up,
man.
fans?
Look at him. Somebody over there giddy as a little schoolgirl right now. Fans, this is your man Cam down here on location in Costa Mesa, California. We got my man Clevon up there in the Northwest. I don't know what he's so excited about. He been bugging me, texting me, calling me. What time we doing the show? When is the show starting? I ain't got no information. I'm like, settle down, man. You gonna have the information. This guy, is it spring football? Is it the hydroplane weekend? Is it the seafair weekend? What's got you so fired up right now?
Oh, Cam, it's a multitude of things, but I have the utmost confidence that you'll lead us to the right direction, and we'll be able to address it at the proper time.
Oh, did Bomber get a hold of you? Did
You know,
Bomber find it?
actually, I was hoping you got a hold of him
Oh
and
well.
and let him know that the way the free agency has gone in the NBA. I just didn't want there to be any hard feelings going forward with regards to the haves and the have-nots. It kind of it kind of came through with that. So,
There's some have-nots out there for
Mr.
sure.
Mr. Balmer, no disrespect ever, man. There's never any disrespect between us. I just want you to know that at all times.
Well, let's get this started, man. In this episode, week 150 of this iteration of Voices Fans, Cleveland, week 150. It is August 4, 2021, man. This year is just zipping by, excuse me. In this episode, we're going to talk about NBA free agency. Got a lot of news to talk about in this one here. We're going to talk about Team USA men's basketball. They advance, and then they got a big game coming up. They got a rematch here coming up tomorrow night, I believe it is. We're going to make our AFC South predictions as we got the NFL season just coming right around upon us in just a few short weeks, man. We got some football tomorrow night, don't we?
I
Turn on the
believe so.
TV. We got a
Hall of
football
Famer.
game you can watch tomorrow night. We're going to talk about make our AFC South predictions as I stated. We're going to talk about this day in history. And we got to get this fantasy football league together, man. Cleveland and his cronies is trying to hold out. Like they don't want
Oh
to.
no, I'm in. I'm
They don't want the
100%
smoke.
in.
Like they don't want the
Unfortunately, some
smoke.
of the participants from last year are no longer participating, but it has nothing to
So
do with me, man. I'm
so we
there.
need to let the fans know you are more than welcome. We got a couple spots
More
open
than
on the
welcome.
Voice of the Fans Fantasy Football League. This is our third year or fourth year. Third
This is
year.
our third year.
Third year in action now. We got a couple spots. We do it on Yahoo, so it's a split between combination between PPR league and the standard league. So scoring is pretty interesting. We have a lot of fun, a lot of banner. If you want to join in, shoot me your contact information. You can find me on Twitter. What's good in sport? That's what's good in sport or Voice of Fans on Instagram. Cleveland, what's your Twitter information?
Absolutely. Twitter is at Clevy Wonder and Instagram is Clevon Steele.
So you guys are more than welcome. Hit me up. Send me a DM, and then we can get you the information to join the Voice of the Fans Fantasy Football League, which we're going to have a draft here in a couple of weeks, but we got to find those players. So got a couple open slots. Let us know what's up. As always, want to give a shout out to the guys at HNB Media for producing the show or for hosting the show. Each and every week, you can check us out there. HNB Media on YouTube or Voice of the Fans on YouTube as well. You can watch the Voice of the Fans podcast, or you can listen to us on any podcast platform that you choose to use. If you're on the go, if you're doing homework, you're doing yard work, if you're at the pool, you having a barbecue, put us on. Tell Alexa, Voice of the Fans podcast. She'll play our latest episode. So more than welcome to tune in to us any way you choose, any way you please. You can listen to Voice of the Fans podcast, and we thank you for tuning in. It is August 4th, 2021. As I mentioned, week 150. Cleveland 150. I mean, we got more than that amount of shows under the belt, but through this iteration, man, it's 150, but big guy. So it just keeps going on. And every week we do our number segment. So this week is number 4. When you think of the number 4, who wore it the best, or who's the first person to come to your mind?
Be honest, Cam, the first person that comes to mind is Brett Favre. The person that probably wore it best would be Lou Gehrig.
Okay. Well, first person to come to my mind right now is we're in some. I'm talking to Roger Goodell, talking to ownership down in Houston. Is number 4 Deshaun Watson, figuring out how we're gonna make this happen to get him in the 305. So right now, that's kind of first and foremost on my plate. Other than that, if not, I would think about Nick Collison. Nick Collison, man, I was a big fan of Nick Collison.
It's good dude. It's good dude.
Coming out of college, player of the year in college. I thought he was going to really be. I thought he was going to be better than he was in the NBA. Although he played 17 years, right?
I mean, he loved Seattle. I will always give him his props for that, man. He loved the 206, man. He was. Yeah. He felt he fit right into the culture, and man, embraced us, and we embraced him. So.
Yeah, Nick Collison. The number 50. We've got a couple people on the list that many fans will probably recognize, but who comes to your mind when you think of the number 50?
Right now, the person that comes to mind first is KJ Wright. I mean, because he just needs to get in camp and get back with the squad. Let's put the band back together and see what we can do.
Oh, the
person that probably wore it the best.
They probably need to pay him.
The person that wore it the best is probably David Robinson, the Admiral. 2 championships with the San Antonio Spurs. Hall of Famer.
You can argue Mike Singletary had a better career than David Robinson.
Oh, really?
Robinson, yeah.
How many chips he got?
He probably played on the best defense. Recognized most fans would acknowledge the defense he led was the best defense ever in the game.
I don't recall him being a part of the Legion of Boom, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh boy. Was the Legion of Boom better than the 85 Bears? Huh? Were they better than the 85 Bears? Richard
the entire secondary?
I didn't say one section of the defense. I said the entire defense.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Let's make this argument short. No, okay. Were they good? Sure, they were good. Yeah, sure. Were they as good as the 85 Bears? Who Miami Dolphins carved up, by the way, carved up like Miami Dolphins and Dan Marino sliced up like Swiss cheese. That'd be a no, and you stop that biased conversation right there. Clevon, let's get into this, man. The NFL topics for this week. I mean, we have Carson Wentz goes down with a foot injury. I mean, Frank Wright he's getting the short end of the stick in Indianapolis for whatever reason, man. There seems to be something up for the past few seasons. He's been there. Something up. The quarterback goes down with a foot injury. Quentin Nelson, the guard, goes down with a similar foot injury. Both of these guys are slated to be out 8 to 12 weeks. Oddly enough, Nelson says he's going to be back in 5 weeks. He's going to be ready to go for week 1. he's not playing no games. He said, I'm not missing any games because of this. And Carson Wentz, what do you do with Carson Wentz? Do you let him go out, rush his way back? Do you let him sit out the 8 weeks and then now you're playing with a rookie quarterback going into the start of your season? Like, I'm okay with Quentin Nelson coming right back. He though he has had a few injuries, a few surgeries, he's not on my injury prone list. However, Carson Wentz is like some saltine crackers. As soon as you touch that bag, man, and all of them will break, right? What do you do with Carson Wentz?
Well, it's not up to the organization, and it's not up to Carson Wentz. It's up to how Carson Wentz's body heals from the surgery and this injury. So it's not something that anyone can dictate when he's going to be back on the field. The time frame is 5 to 12 weeks. Now, Mr. Nelson doing something quite different than what Carson Wentz is doing. Has his own timetable and a little bit younger, but we don't know how his body's going to heal. So, and we don't know how Carson Wentz is going to heal. So it's up to, that process.
So just however the body heals is what you said. Whatever the body tells you a few weeks down the line is you're good with.
Yeah.
I think he might need to sit out. We got 4 weeks. So the NFL is doing something odd this season. Is they're playing 3 preseason games. That what would be that 4th preseason game is now canceled, and they're not replacing it. So between week 3 of preseason and week 1 of the regular season, there's a bye in there, or it's not a bye. There's just not a game. So essentially, the teams get 2 weeks off after week 3 of the preseason, and going into the week 1 of the regular season, they get 2 weeks off. Well, what's your thoughts on that? I don't like it because the guys, as the teams ramp up in training camp, and here's just what I'm learning just by covering the Chargers and being with them for the last week, is the guys, they have to go 4 days without pads. Then they can only have pads on like 2 of the next 3 days. And so they have to kind of take baby steps to get into the pads and get into the rhythm of the game, a rhythm of practice. And then as they ramp up to in the second week, they can have pads all week long. But as they ramp up, now they're going to say, okay, week 1, the guys are obviously gearing up to that first week of training camp or preseason games. Game 1, it's like everybody wants to play that game just to kind of game action. You get to run your stuff. You get to see another body, see another uniform. You got to go against some live competition. Week 2, okay, we tried it out. Now these young guys need to get in the game and see if they can actually play when the lights come on. Week 3, it's going to be some of the same. However, they're not doing the final cut down at the end of the season, or excuse me, the end of preseason. They're not just cutting down from 85 players to 53 players. They're doing that progressive cut down. So there's going to be a cut down every week now for 3 weeks. We're going to see players get cut because I can tell you right now, real quick, there's going to be, they have to cut down from just take 85 by the 17th. They have to cut down to 80 to 80 by the 24th, and then 53 by the 31st. That's what the players have to do. That's how they have to cut these games down. This is all by 1:00 Pacific Standard Time, by the way. So the players have kind of gotten a rhythm, gotten a momentum, and as just men, we're creatures of habit. So now that the players have gotten to this rhythm and the flow, now you're going to say, okay, you get a week off before game 1. Now these rookies who have played in to get into this rhythm to make the team and start, now you're going to throttle them back down to tell them to restart, and the same with the veterans. So I that kind of concerns me. I think once the team get into that rhythm, we should be playing that next week. That's my opinion. What do you think, Clevon? What's your thoughts on
that? It's unfortunate because the younger players need more opportunities to show what they can do. There are countless examples of players, really shining in that 3rd, 4th preseason game of the past, and really needing those additional, reps and exposure to kind of show what it is that they can do. Veterans, I think, are indifferent about it. Probably the less wear and tear on their body, the better. So they're okay with things, but those guys that are really hungry and, need that opportunity to show things, it's unfortunate for them.
Well, yeah, but what's your thoughts on that, having that week off? Now, obviously,
I'm okay with the week off. I don't really think it hinders the continuity and the momentum in the same way that you're seeing it, kind of a start-stop approach to it. I think it's more along the lines of, we've had these 2 rehearsals, we've had these 2 opportunities to show what you can do, and let's get back to kind of toning it down and getting ready for the regular season.
Okay.
You don't have a lot of exposure and a lot of instances in which to make decisions, but I'm okay with it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm concerned with the start and stop of it all. It kind of, again, just being creatures of habit. You develop this routine for the last 2 months, last week in July, all the way to the first week of September, and then you say, okay, we're going to take a week off. Yeah, I think most teams, I would guess, now that you're adding an additional week to the season, most teams would say, okay, let's get that bye after week 5, week 6. Now let's take a break because now they've actually been through some punishment, and then let's go ahead and ramp up from that point forward. I would suspect that most players would feel that way, um, than taking this bye before the season even gets going. But on the backside, on another train of thought is if you do have a stinger or you have a sprained ankle coming off of training camp, or you have some kind of injury that gives you that time to an extra week to kind of prepare yourself for the regular season. So it's a two trains of thoughts, but I personally would want to go right into the season. And then as we have the situation and why Quentin Nelson is so confident he'll be able to be back is because he does have that extra week off. But then we have the situation where your quarterback's not going to is down. I wouldn't be in a hurry to put Carson Wentz back in the game. Philip Rivers down there coaching high school football. Would you give Philip Rivers a call if you're the coach? Say, hey man, come throw the ball around. No? Well, no confidence in Phil and Philip Rivers?
No, he gave it all he had. He gave it, every last ounce of himself to the game. He should continue coaching. Yeah.
Okay.
Enjoy your retirement.
All right. Okay. All right. I don't think there's some people that feel the same way you do, but man, what are you going with a rookie? And Jacoby Brissett is not there. Is not walking through their doors in Indianapolis. You're going with a rookie. I mean, you wouldn't rather have a veteran who's been in that offense for a couple weeks?
No, as we've discussed on this show many times, Cam, football players age in dog years, and he was Old Yeller last year. So trying to, wake him up and get him to come back to camp and remember all the plays and formations and that ship has sailed.
Okay. All right. I feel you. How about them Browns? To think years ago that this kid was the backup coming out of college. He was the backup to one Todd Gurley. Now he's the top 2-3 backs in the NFL. Nick Chubb signs a big deal. What do you think about the Browns signing Nick Chubb and in fact his development through his time in the NFL?
Hey man, good for him. Congratulations. I mean, he's shown a lot of durability. Not quite sure where you were going with was Todd Gurley's backup. I mean, there's no shame in being Todd Gurley's backup at Georgia, when you're younger. So when he got his opportunity, he certainly shines. And I expect him to be durable and one of the top 5 picks in fantasy football, quite possibly.
Oh yeah, quite very, very much so. Where I was going is he was in the shadows, and cats kind of like Thurman Thomas was to Ronnie Harmon, and then how Barry Sanders was to Thurman Thomas. What do you mean?
More like Barry Sanders was to Thurman Thomas, which is why Barry Sanders didn't start until his senior year.
Junior year it was, but you don't remember Ronnie Harmon was ahead of Thurman Thomas as well. Thurman Thomas didn't start as well. They had a lineage down there in Oklahoma State. So
yeah, I mean that happens. You could say the same thing about the University of Miami running backs. I mean, Priest Holmes never saw the field sitting behind Ricky Williams. These things happen.
Priest Holmes had one big game. I don't know. You remember who they played? He had one big game in what was it? Thanksgiving. That game after Thanksgiving. I wonder to see just off track now. Going back to college football and how these mergers are happening. Every weekend we got Texas and Oklahoma. That Friday after Thanksgiving, they seem to play consistently. Now with this merger, it's going to be. We might get. Oh
yeah, you got to throw all that tradition out the window, Cam. You have to reinvent college football as a whole. Yeah.
It's
all those traditions you have to throw those out the window, bro.
But that's That's who we played against. He played in that big game where he
Yeah,
was
the
the
Red
only
River
game.
rivalry and all that. That's great, but yeah, throw that kind of stuff out the window.
But that's what got Priest Holmes drafted. Is that one football game? I think he ran for 200 plus yards and had another $150 receiving. Like he had a day that was just out of this world. And I was like, oh boy, who is this guy? And then he ended up, still getting drafted. I think it might have been the second round, but and then had the career he had. But nonetheless, Justin Houston signs with the Ravens. Just bolsters that defense now.
Yeah.
Another guy over there to bolster the defense for the Ravens and going to keep them in top. That's a top 5 fantasy defense there the Ravens have. So good for him. He gets his money. Not the money he was asking for, but he gets the money, so he'll be good. Your thoughts on Justin Houston? Any thoughts?
Great addition. We'll see what he has left in the tank. That's about it.
Oh no, he'll be good. If you want to be concerned with somebody left in the tank, that's Melvin Ingram signing with the Ravens' rival, the Steelers. They need somebody to come off the edge there and put pressure on the quarterback. And that was the one thing that Melvin was not quite able to do with the Chargers last season. And no, not only that, but he went down with injury, so I think he's over 30 years old. And as you know, like you said, the football players are aging dog years. How much does he have left in the tank with signing to him? What do you think Melvin Ingram could bring to the Steelers?
Different scheme, different environment, different opportunity, different level of expectation. I think he can definitely contribute at a high level.
But your question of Justin Houston in Baltimore.
Right.
Oh, this contradiction is hysterical, fans. This contradiction is hysterical. That's all. I'm gonna leave it there. Ken Haskins beat out Mason Rudolph for the number 2 role with those same Steelers.
Certainly can. I mean, if he has an impressive camp and shows all of the tools and skills that everyone saw coming out of Ohio State, I mean, certainly there's an opportunity there. I wouldn't say that he doesn't have a shot at it. Yeah, I feel confident he can actually beat out Rudolph for the number 2.
Well, we'll get a chance to we should see them guys competing for that role tomorrow night. I mean, that's one of the joys of watching these, for me anyway, is watching these preseason games. You get to see these young cats trying to get after it. You get to see Dwayne Haskins in this competition between him and Mason Rudolph. Now, again, we don't know if they're going to be playing come regular season game, but this is an opportunity for them to show their worth and against a good defense. Like tomorrow night, the game is going to be pretty decent because I'll be looking at that side of the ball. And then with those guys on the court, they're going to be playing against that potential rookie of the year, Parsons, for the Cowboys. And it's going to be interesting to see how he plays on the next stage, if he is able to do the same things he did in college. So that's going to be interesting for me to see. What will you be looking at tomorrow's Hall of Fame game?
I usually don't put too much stock in the first preseason game of the year, just kind of getting that rust off, and the first teams with an opportunity to play against someone else other than themselves. So I kind of see it as that. So I don't know if we can really get too much out of it, other than getting some reps against another team and seeing what players are able to do. But yeah.
Well, that's an opportunity for them to show their stuff. I mean, they've been packaging this up. The coach has been scheming this up for them to perform, and this is their opportunity. We're going to be interested to see if they can actually do this. Did you happen to see the Panthers safety, JT Ibe, his hit on wide receiver Keith Kirkwood that sent him to the hospital, to stop practice and had the ambulance come get Kirkwood off the field? Did you happen to see that? And
I did not. It sounds like it was certainly egregious if he had to go to the hospital.
Well, I saw it wasn't really that egregious. That's, for for the football I grew up playing and watching. It was not that egregious. Let me say that. For today's football, it was an unnecessary hit. He didn't have to hit him. The receiver went up high, dropped the ball, came down. The defender kind of was around his leg, so he didn't fall straight to the ground. And while he's coming down, that's when it looked like the defender put his elbow or shoulder into the head of the receiver and just kind of knocked his head back and hit the ground, concussion or whatever it had. But it wasn't like was your man on for the Cincinnati Bengals. It wasn't like Vontaze Burfict on Antonio Brown. It wasn't that type of egregious hit where he tried to really literally snap his neck in half. But it was just a kind of a bang bang play. And Matt Rule, your guy on your team, the
It's not my guy.
That is your guy. You was bragging all about him last year, how he's going to change the culture there, and he cut the guy. Whatever, dude. Also, the Giants had a big brawl, and then to go there had those guys stop and run laps, and win sprints. Like they're in Pop Warner. What was your thoughts on that difference of response?
Appropriate when your franchise quarterback is at the bottom of all of that for no apparent reason in practice. Yeah. Usually those guys wear the vest, so you're not supposed to hit him at all. So the mere fact that he went down like that and was at the bottom of the heap, yeah, you guys need to learn a lesson.
So the whole team is running laps. I found that to be comical. Man, these guys is amazing, bro. They're running 36 and 36.84 in the 4x1 relay. Like, dude, 36 36 seconds, man.
It's 9-second splits, right?
Jeez, man.
38 sounds more appropriate, right?
Well, 36 is a world record, though.
I'm just saying. I mean, when you're running that fast, 9-7 wins the 100.
China went. Ooh, they had a chance. No, they don't. Who is this? China was leading, looking like right up to the last second.
Who was in the 4x1?
China was leading in the 4x1. And I'm trying to see who this is that came and snatched it. Look, it's gonna be a photo finish. But somebody came and snatched it out of lane 8. But China had it going down the backstretch. China was up, had the advantage. Yeah, but again, I was just looking at the world. I didn't see what the time they ran. I just saw the world record. You know how they have it on the side. It's got to be a photo finish. I don't know who that was and coming down lane 8 who actually. Or the Americans flubbing up the handoff. That's where they were. I think they came in last place. It looks like. Nonetheless, man, we got distracted. I got distracted. I should say. Then we have Lions. Dan Campbell. You see what Dan Campbell did? You see what Dan Campbell, they have a fight. His two rookies have a fight, and he gets on the mic and says he's fired up. He's fired up. I love it. It's these two guys trying to show what they can do, and he's all excited about it. So that was a different way, 3 different ways the coach handles that. What's your thoughts on Dan Campbell? And this is the same guy who says, I want to bite him at the kneecap.
Dan Campbell is either going to end up being like Jimmy Johnson or he's going to end up being like Rex Ryan. We're not sure just yet.
Well, he's not going to beat Jimmy Johnson. Don't forget, we've seen Dan Campbell before. He coached the Dolphins for 6 or 7 games.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah,
I'm talking about
I don't
stay
know
in the
that a whole
present.
lot has changed. I don't know that a whole lot has changed.
Well, Cam, I'm sorry that you had that bad experience. I mean, you had that same bad experience with Ryan Tannehill as well.
No,
I mean, you had that
I
same
don't know what
bad
Ryan
experience with
Tannehill.
Minka
What Ryan
Fitzpatrick
Tannehill
as
got you to
well.
do? Oh,
So, I mean,
see here.
see what I'm saying?
See, see how you do. I don't know what Ryan Tannehill or Minka Fitzpatrick have to do
Because
with
you're
Dan
talking
Campbell.
about Dan Campbell in the present, like he's supposed to be the same dude like when he was coaching the Miami Dolphins way back in the day. It's like it's not the same dude. He's trying to bring a new culture, a new enthusiasm to the team. It's infectious. They rally around him. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my goodness, Clint.
And he's either going to be the next Rex Ryan or he's going to be the next Jimmy Johnson. He's either a genius that brings all these people together, or he's just a personality that's cool. And once this is all over, he'll be an ESPN analyst.
Well, I don't think he's
One
going
of
to
the
be. I don't think he's going to be an ESPN analyst either. Clint, oh my goodness, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
So,
We got
Clint.
Clint Lomax. We got Clint Lomax joining us today.
My guys, what's up?
And we just wrapping up our NFL conversation. And Clint, he's talking about Dan Campbell, who and then he tried to bring it. He just trying to stir the pot basically. And I'm not buying it. I fell for it last week. I'm not buying it this week. He's just trying to stir up the pot by bringing up some bad history that happened down there in South Florida. But I want to know.
I thought that's what this show was all about, was stirring the pot.
I mean, sometimes you have to
he said it is.
Sometimes, Clint, you have to come with some facts. You have to come with some facts. And you have to make sure that the people understand exactly, because some people spin some stuff. We got some spinsters on the show that, somebody in the Northwest, I know you up in Canada, likes to spin stuff to a certain way to try to fit a narrative. That we can't have. You have to spit facts on the show. This is the voice of the fans. We're all fans of the game here, and you have to spit facts on the show. And that's what I'm going to do for both of you guys actually here in a moment. But first, I want to get your feedback, Mr. Lomax.
You started already.
With the Washington football team banning Native American dressing at home games. What's your thoughts on that?
Is it necessary? Like, I mean,
they changed the name.
Okay.
There was course and changing the name.
You know what? I get it. I mean, I'm going to give you both sides. So real quick, I just heard about this too. And, first I'm like, okay, cats come to the game dressed in all kind of stupid stuff all the time, right? I mean, whatever it is, right? And sometimes, especially, when Washington was really not winning any games and cats was wearing paper bags on their heads. You remember that stuff? That was detrimental to the image of the team too. Right? I mean, even though they're losing, you coming in there wearing a paper bag, talking about, hey, I'm afraid to show my face, and they don't really care. You paid your ticket, you're sitting in the stands with a bag on your head. They didn't care about that, right? So now you have something of substance, which is absolutely, it's important, right? It's important, especially what's going on right now. Now, the flip side of that is, and this is what I've heard. This is what I keep hearing from people that are sick and tired of politics being pushed on them during their sporting event.
PC culture.
When do you? I mean, when do you do something like this? I mean, they've done it outside the stadium for years. Nothing's happened, right? How long did it take them to change the name? Right? They've been begging for this for decades, like literally decades, when they were winning Super Bowls with John Riggins and the rest of these cats, right? Yeah. So I mean, there's two sides of it. I mean, I don't like the ban, but then again, it's like, if you guys own your own business, right? I mean, if it's a private business, which the NFL really is, people don't really realize that the NFL's a boys' club, right? Mm-hmm. Not everybody can buy in. Ask Donald Trump; he tried. Several times, and they said hell no. So they reserve the right to be able to preserve the atmosphere that's going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess conducive for everyone involved, right? So The only thing you can really do with that is that, I mean, you can protest outside, but I mean, when they ban something like that in their stadiums, I mean, honestly, they have every right to do it under the way that they run things. So I mean, whether it's right or wrong, that's what it is. I mean, that's kind of a non-answer, but I mean, I mean,
No,
you know.
it's all good. That's they have the right to do it. That's one thing first and foremost. They do have the right to do it. Should have been done years ago, probably so. They changed the name. It took them a while to change the name, but now they changed the name, and then the owner, has all kind of issues about how he treats women in the organization, about how their organization kind of got a bad name. So this is kind of a ploy now to kind of save face, if you will. Clevon, how do you see this?
Given the name change, I don't see any connotation or any reason that they should be wearing that. So,
well, it's history. It would be history. Anybody who knows what they were. I mean, they were the Hogs. They were the Redskins. I mean, right. I would anticipate that we see some
right,
some
but it made more sense when they were the Redskins, right? Now that the Washington football team, it doesn't really make any sense, right? Because there's no correlation between wearing a bunch of feathers other than that's who they used to be.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
That's a good point. Yeah, so you make it.
So now that the Washington football team, I don't really see the relevance of coming out in a bunch of feathers and, kind of continuing with that stereotype.
That thing, yeah.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
That makes sense. You're not going to say that a whole lot on this show, Clinton. So
I see how he does me, see Lil Max.
I know how he does. I know he does that. I know.
Little shits. Yeah. Get in where he can. Mm-hmm.
No, it is what it is, man. That's an excellent point, right? I mean, the name's changed. It is changed, right? I mean, what are you protesting now? To be honest with, I'm jumping on the other side of the fence again, right? What are you protesting now that the name has been changed, right? What else is happening now that they're doing that? Right? I mean, here's the thing. Tradition is what a lot of sports, a lot of fans, me and you guys too, we hold on to certain traditions that we grew up with, and that's what we hold on to. Dan Snyder is about to make a ridiculous amount of money reselling jerseys, swag, hats, shirts, jerseys, shoe, whatever he's going to sell, right? So now he's starting up a new tradition, right? So in this the Me Too movement, where it's those of us who really pay attention to sports and go underneath the surface of it, we know who Dan Snyder is, right? We know, right? He doesn't really try to hide it either, right? Let's be honest. So I mean, all that other stuff, I mean, that will take care of itself in the end, right? So I mean, if it's a Harvey Weinstein thing, it'll definitely get taken care of sooner than later.
It'll come out.
Right, exactly. So other than that, man, I mean, that stuff, let it play out. Let's get the whole story out, and then we can move forward from there, right? So,
and to your point about merchandising there, Clint, I mean, let's also not forget that this team is kind of on the upswing a little bit. They've had a little bit of success. They've had some pretty good drafts. So they're kind of looking at that next 3 to 5 years as kind of something where they can kind of change their image somewhat, anyways, and kind of have it be in a different fold, in which case, all that tradition kind of falls by the wayside when you're kind of riding with the front runners in the new millennium, right? With the Chase Youngs and the McLaurins and the Gibsons, all of a sudden the Riggins and the Theismans and the Dexter Manleys, that was quite some time ago when they were the Redskins.
You Dexter Man.
They were those guys. Washington football team. So,
Dexter Manley.
I need the new stuff. I don't need the feathers, right?
Hey, young kids, look up Dexter Manley if you really want to know what real men on defense was all about, because he was a real man. Dexter Manley was what I like to call the truth. I think he was underrated, to be honest with you. even though he couldn't read. So
That
stay
was
in school.
that was the things that kind of kept him from kind of getting more shine. Is that
Exactly.
he couldn't talk. He not only couldn't read, but he had to
he had to
talking, and
right.
so that kind of kept him from being in the forefront. But
Mhm.
if you want to watch some footage, you can see him play.
Oh yeah.
But then make sure you stay in school and get that education, so people can actually talk to you and you can verbalize what you're trying to do.
Exactly.
But Clint, we brought you on for let's hold tight, Clevon. We're gonna get to it, Clint. We brought you on to talk about this NBA. The NBA action was hot over the past week. But before that, we got to make our picks. We got to reveal our picks for the AFC North division. And interesting enough, they're not too
not too far apart.
Yeah, they're not too far apart. We both agree. I'm surprised Cleveland has the Browns winning this division. That means you must think
what? What? Oh, what? Oh no! Wait! Oh no! You believe in the Browns? Believe in the Browns now?
Well, I don't win the division. To win the division.
To win the division. Okay.
Hold tight, Clinton. Hold tight.
Okay.
This is interesting because every time I ask him about Baker Mayfield, sometimes he says Baker Mayfield shouldn't be in the league. So I'm interested to say how all of a sudden now he has Baker Mayfield leading them to a division title. You want to explain that to people?
Cam, may I answer that question?
Yeah. I'm interested to know.
Last season, Baker Mayfield proved himself as an extremely competent game manager.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's this much below what Alex Smith was at the prime of his career.
So you
tremendous game manager.
You expect him to take a generous leap then this year?
I expect him to understand the offense a lot better. I expect him to understand that he has a tremendous defense. And Cam, what's a quarterback's favorite thing?
The running game. And he got two
strong running game. He has that, right? In spades, right? With Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. And he's got pretty good receivers, as I recall. Some cat named Odell Beckham Jr. and some other former Dolphin on the other side. So I mean, he has some receivers to throw to, and so long as he just kind of does what he's supposed to do and not get too far out of himself, not get too caught up in the progressive commercials and whatnot, thinking he's a superstar, and just manage the game, I think they can win the division.
Hey, the progressive, those commercials are filling up. They're buying the second and third houses, right? So I mean, we can't really get on that. It's like the Chucky Soup commercials, man. So they're putting people through college, right? So okay, you know what? Let me do Odell Beckham first. I won't go on the quarterback right now. I'm worried about Odell Beckham.
Oh, are you? Are you now? Interesting. Go ahead and tell the people why you're worried about Odell.
So, Odell, I mean, being the personality that he is, it's not about his personality, to be honest with you. Right now, it's about his drive.
Oh, really? Interesting.
For success.
Go ahead. I'm interested.
100% of the time. So let me explain. So from what I saw, and I know he got injured, but even during injuries, during interviews, different things like that, the comment that he was okay with not being an elite receiver anymore, and I'm paraphrasing. I saw that.
Ooh.
Like you can see that. That's on YouTube. He actually said something similar to that. So I'm worried about him. I don't know. He says he wants to stay in Cleveland, but I'm not sure if he really does. And then if he does, I'm not sure. I mean, how much of a vibe do you get that he's trying to get to be, the number one receiver in the league now? Like, I don't see that. I don't see it. I've been searching for it. When he was every overthrown ball or every short pass that was coming his way from Mayfield at certain points in the season, you could see his shoulders drop, right? And that's every elite wide receiver that feels that they're elite they always want they're always open for one thing, and then on top of that, when they're open and the opportunity to catch the ball is not there, they some of them are you can't live with them, right? I mean, we can go through T.O. and some of the other cats like that. Beckham himself, I'm worried about his drive to get back to the elite, right? His injuries are mounting up. Well, no, I mean, I'm just saying, right now, I mean, let's say he got injured. Mm-hmm. Check out, before he got injured, check out his games, his routes, and his targets. Then after he was out, that's when Cleveland shot through the roof, right? So I think there was a rookie or a second year guy. I think he played the slot and he moved to the second receiver. And he played well, right? I mean, he dropped some passes too, but he's a deep threat. And I like him for that. Now, is he replacing Odell Beckham for deep threat? Probably not. But we're going to see what his motivation is the first 3 or 4 games of the season, right? Because I just from when he was injured and the interviews he was doing, I didn't feel that he was trying to be among the elite receivers, right? I mean, that comment that I'm satisfied with, not being an elite receiver or what he's. I have to go back and say
what he
go back and find out specifically.
Is he's okay with not being the focal point of the offense, and
that's a problem. That's a problem, though.
Not necessarily. I understand where you're coming from. We want our players to want to be the best, and with you wanting to be the best, that's that drive to get you to be best. What he was saying was he doesn't want to be the focal point, or he's okay with not being the focal point, meaning that he can allow the running game to flourish. He's okay with the running game flourish. He's okay if Jarvis is over there catching passes as well, and that he's not going to be a malcontent because every ball's not coming to him. In that respect, that was a good point by him. But I certainly understand exactly what you were saying is you want him to think he's the best guy out there on every single play and perform like he's the best guy in every single play. I certainly understand what you're saying, but I don't think that's where he was coming from because of what he's been through, because he hasn't been the phenom since he made that catch in Dallas that everybody's anticipating him to be. He now can't claim he's the very best receiver because we haven't seen that for 3 years now. I mean, that catch was 2017, if I'm not mistaken. So with that being said, he's trying to fit in now to this Cleveland squad, seeing that they had some success, to your point, when he was away. He's saying, I can fit. It's okay if I'm not the focal point of that team. So
how long you think that's gonna last?
I personally said last season I think they should have traded Jarvis Landry, or excuse me, they should have traded Odell Beckham. I personally said that because they don't need a. I predicted that without him on the squad, Baker Mayfield the first year was going to him in every throw, he's what do they say? He's projecting his route, projecting his passes. Without him on the field, that allowed him to flourish a little bit more and be the game manager that Clevon called him to be, because now he's getting it to his tight end. Now he's getting it to his young wide receivers. Now he's getting it to the backs out the backfield. Now he's getting to Jarvis Landry. So without him, I personally would be trying to trade him. Like, who wants him? Are you going to give me a number one? You're going to give me 2 numbers? You're going to give me a tight end? You're going to give me an offensive line, offensive guard? What can I get for him? I'd be on the bat phone trying to figure out what I can get for him. Serious business. That's me, and that's because he's as you stated, Baker Mayfield performed well without him. The team doesn't need to focus on him. So in that respect, what he said was actually a good thing. But I think that train has kind of moved past the stables. So, Clevon, how do you feel? I know you feel differently, like he's that man. So,
I am one of those guys that would prefer for my number one receiver to be a diva, to be extremely selfish, to be arrogant, and to be somewhat of a malcontent. Because without it, you don't really have a number one receiver. You just have a guy that's the most effective wide receiver on your team. The other thing is that Odell Beckham Jr. is not one of those guys that can flourish in any environment. He's way better in New York than he is in Charlotte. He's way better in LA than he is in Indianapolis.
How about we send him
Cleveland is not really that cool, man. I mean, I got family in the 216. I'm going back next month, but for someone that has been used to the spotlight in the way that Odell Beckham Jr. has been, it's a little bit dull. But at the same time, he hasn't really, in the last 2 years, he hasn't really deserved the spotlight because he hasn't really been performing up to his level of expectation or anyone else's, level of expectation. However,
how do you think he would perform with Russ? How do you think he would perform with Russ?
Well, that's actually not what I've been hearing. My sources tell me that Jalen Waddle for Odell Beckham Jr. is on the table right now. So we'll see if the Dolphins pull the trigger.
See what I'm saying? See, we got don't even go with that mess. I said, how would he perform with Russ, who actually needs another wide receiver, and he tried to throw him. He tried to come up with some formulated term. Steve Nelson doesn't appreciate that. Steve Nelson doesn't appreciate that, and he apparently has you blocked now. Apparently, you're blocked because
he would be getting a Pro Bowl receiver, and I mean, look how great Odell would be down there on the 305, man.
No,
that's his kind of scene. Am I right? That's his kind of scene, right?
That is his scene. 100%.
Touchdowns mean a little bit more down there, right?
No, we don't. That's issues down there. Nonetheless, you and I agree that Baker Mayfield, in the combination with the running game and that defense, can lead the Cleveland Browns to number one in that division.
Oh, wait. So this is, even though, I mean, this may not, it doesn't officially apply, but think about this before you go forward with this. Baker Mayfield had, this easily his best season as a quarterback. However, now, and before, teams always game plan for people, but usually the second time around, just like a Bill Belichick team or a Bill Parcells team, the second time around, the next season, he's definitely on the chalkboard. He's top of the list. They're going to throw everything at him and don't anticipate him. Right, yeah, exactly. Don't think he's going to do the same thing he did before unless he progresses.
He has to progress, Clint. And that's the expectation. Number one, it's a contract year. So he didn't get the extension like he's expected. So this is his 5th year on his contract. So he'll be playing for a contract year. He has a running game. He has two capable running backs that can run the ball, not only run the ball, but catch out the backfield. That's huge. He has a solid defense. And then we talked about the quality of receivers that they have. So there's no reason for him not to progress. The only reason he doesn't progress is if he's not that guy. And that's the only reason for him not to progress.
Okay. I guess we're going to find out.
We're going to find out, but he's taking a lick. We've seen progression from him. That's what I'm saying. So what we've seen in the past, we've seen progression for him. So that's why I have them winning that division. Next up, I have the Ravens winning that division with Lamar Jackson doing.
Thank you. Okay, now we sound a little bit more clear-headed now.
I have the Ravens in number 2, but the problem with the Ravens, they're number 2 they're number 2 in the division. They're going to finish number 2. They have a solid defense as well. The running game isn't as strong because they letting go of Mark Ingram a couple years ago was
what?
No, that was this year. That was not a mistake. J.K. Dobbins is more than
exactly 100%. Yeah,
come on now.
Dobbins
Ingram was old, man.
That can't be the reason.
No, it can't be.
Ingram gave you the attitude that they needed. Dobbins, I expected Dobbins to be that guy. Dobbins he didn't prove to be that guy last year. I expect him to be. I would like him to be. I'm encouraged that he can be, but he didn't show that last year. So
he'll get more touches though. He'll get more touches now.
Again, we gotta go. We can't go on We got to go on kind of what we see to make it what did it say? Past performance is an indication of future performance, right? So we got to use what he did in the past to see what he can do next year.
Yeah, but not as a rookie, Cam. I mean, playing behind Mark Ingram and Mark Ingram getting way too many touches for his age and his skill set. I mean, now he's gone, and that's one of the main reasons he's gone, because J.K. Dobbins showed enough to say, yeah, we don't really, at your salary and your durability, yeah, not so much. Great locker room guy. Appreciate you, man. Journeyman, but yeah, we're going in a different direction.
Interestingly enough, you say that, Clevon, but you have the Ravens number 3 in the division. So
I do.
I'm explaining why. Hold on, Clint. I'm explaining why I have the Ravens at number 2. So now I want to hear. I'm pretty sure I know where he's coming from, but I want to hear how Clevon thinks the Steelers with an old quarterback, no running game. Well, excuse me. Let me take that back.
What you mean?
Let me take that back.
Yeah, I was waiting for you to put your foot directly in your mouth. Exactly what you said 2 weeks ago. And leave it there. What you said 2 weeks ago. Bring that back up right now. And I mean right now. What did you say 2 weeks ago? A sleeper in the fancy draft is who? Say his name.
I don't. The Steelers have some holes on the defense. I expect the Ravens to kind of take it.
Dance around the question like Cassius Clay.
Hold on.
You're just fumbling, man.
No, the Steelers do
stumbling over your words.
The Steelers have holes on their defense. One thing I did in ranking, what we did is just rank the teams and how we expect them to finish in the division. And then I did discount, as I'm thinking about what the Steelers have, I did discount Najee Harris that they have. Najee Harris.
There you go.
25 carries a game.
So may I interject in why I picked the Steelers to finish second in the division?
Go ahead.
Okay. So like you said, Big Ben is coming back. Okay.
Big Ben,
they have one of the premier safeties in the game.
Big Ben.
They have one of the premier safeties in the game. Mika Fitzpatrick, okay.
Oh my goodness!
Oh boy, here we go.
They have the defensive player in there and TJ Watt, right? Okay.
Okay. All right.
Chase Claypool, did he impress you last year? Juju Smith-Schuster is coming back, right? Deontay Johnson, they got receivers, right? You just came up with Najee Harris, right? The division isn't that tough. I think Mike Tomlins has proven that he can kind of rally the troops and kind of get them, on the straight and narrow. I mean, they were 11, 12-0 last year before the wheels fell off. They did make the playoffs, however, and they didn't
barely.
So barely. I don't foresee a major fall off. There is an area of concern, and for me, it would be the offensive line because that's 5 new players, and we'll see what they can do with that. But I think they have enough experience. I think they have enough good coaching. I think they have enough talent to come up, maybe even win the division, but slightly behind the Cleveland Browns. The Baltimore Ravens are certainly formidable, but until Lamar Jackson learns how to really be a proficient passer that you're kind of afraid of him having the ball in his hands late in the fourth quarter, deep in his territory, you're not, until he can kind of get over that hurdle. I'm not ready to give him the division.
You're making some valuable points. You're making some valuable points. That is one of my concerns with the Ravens as well, is the leap that Lamar Jackson needs to take and the production that we need from him, not only running the ball, but just as being a quarterback. Because now as defense sag on and let you get that 4 or 5 yard gain and just waiting to unload on you, you're not is that going to last through 17 games? We need you to actually hit some of these receivers and project matriculate the ball down the field. And again, just a running quarterback is not going to survive. So Clevon, you make some very good points. Najee Harris he's going to be a force, and that's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I just don't know how long Ben Roethlisberger is he going to be able to utilize all the targets that he does have on the outside. Is he going to be able to utilize those? That's the concern I have. I'm more concerned about Ben Roethlisberger's production just as an old quarterback than I am Lamar Jackson being able to make big plays on the offensive side of the ball. That's why I have the Ravens at number 2, and it's going to be competitive. It's going to be competitive. It's going to be 11-6 to one team's 10-7. It's going to be a competitive division, as we know it always is. And then we're going to have the Bengals and Joe Burrow. I mean, Joe Burrow, though they might win 6 games this year, if he stays healthy, 6 to 7 games this year, it's just not going to be enough to overcome the Steelers, the Ravens, or the Browns.
So can I give you my ranking? I'll give you my ranking of the AFC North. I'll start from the bottom, of course. So Cincinnati. I like Burrow though. He's solid. He's tough. He's a tough core. I like him. Yeah. Third, I have to put Cleveland third. I have Cleveland third. I had them second because of their defense, but I just honestly, just from what I've seen and some of the, I'm going through my fantasy football research, right? Just through what I've seen and what happens the next year after a good season with a young quarterback, I don't trust him yet. I don't trust Mayfield yet, and I can't.
Contract year.
Right. I mean, I know it's a contract year, but then again, cats fail in the contract year too. And not everybody's Dak Prescott, right? That can just throw the ball all over the field with all the weapons he has, right? I can't. I know. I get it. What more than Dallas? What? Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. I'm just saying. Mayfield is not Dak Prescott, and I don't like the Cowboys. As a Seahawk fan, I don't like the Cowboys. So I'm just being real with that. Like Dak Prescott makes that team go. And that's another conversation down the road. I mean, whenever you want to discuss them cats, call me back. I'll be here, right? All right, move on. Second, Pittsburgh, and just because what Clee said, they got weapons, dog. They on offense, dude. Come on, dude. They don't even have to run the ball. Do you know that they have 3 solid receivers, and they'll probably. I mean, Snell could come out of the backfield. They can toss something to him off the backfield. He'll become a receiver too. They have 3 different receivers on there that could probably go for 1,000 yards in the same season. Yeah, I mean, I honestly believe that.
Get on the ball. Is that quarterback?
What you mean? I mean, dude, what is he doing now? He's not chucking all bombs. Basically, he's throwing short passes, slants. You know, 5 to 8 yard slants, bubble screens, and he's letting those guys do the work. Those guys can go, man. Right, all 3 of those cats can go. Their main receivers can go. The tight end is solid too. I mean, you can, he's not going to get 50 or 60 catches over the season. All those passes are going to the receivers. And as long as Ben can actually get it to the receiver every once in a while, throw a bomb and stretch out the defense, dude, Pittsburgh will be able to manage the game. They'll be able to manage the game. And Hayden's the last line of defense. Hopefully he stays healthy too. But that's why I can put them second. Mm-hmm. Baltimore, I got to put first, right? Because for one, they with as long as they have their main guys healthy, the only problem I have is with their main guy is Hollywood Brown. I don't trust him either. I mean, I don't trust him, and look how far they got with me not trusting Hollywood Brown.
Well, is that Brown or is that his quarterback not able to get him the ball?
No, don't blame. You can't blame that all on Jackson. It can't be all Jackson to get them to the Super Bowl, man. Them cats got to stop dropping balls on third downs. No, well, how? Well, drops, third down drops. I watch those games. I'm like, dude, how are you dropping that? Now, Andrews trying to get Andrews deep corner, deep middle, and missing those. That is on Jackson. I'll give him that. Because Andrews is, he's their best receiver. Let's be honest. I mean, he's getting double everywhere he goes.
Why is he the best receiver?
Why? Because he's proven to be the best receiver. That's not even debatable.
Right. His hand. He got some of the best hands in the league.
They wouldn't draft 2 other receivers because Hollywood Brown wasn't able to do the job. I mean,
That's true.
It's not even a question.
Oh, and they got a veteran now. Sammy Watkins is there. Come on, man. Like if you need a safety blanket where you know, oh hey,
Let me
it's third down. I need to make sure you're there. Where you run your route. So when I throw the ball before you make your cut, you're going to be there. That's Sammy Watkins.
Let me tell you a quick story about Sammy Watkins. And congratulations for Sammy with a trophy with KC last year. Not last year, but 2 years ago. Sammy Watkins played for the Rams.
Yep.
And I was covering the Rams at the time. So in the locker room, I was asking him, we're in the locker room, and I asked him, like, coming from Buffalo to LA, like, talk to me about the difference in scenery, the difference in the vibe. Like, even though there's the football fans, LA's not a football town like Buffalo, but talk to me about that vibe. He's like, man, I was so happy to get out of there. Buffalo, we was coming to games, man. Sometimes is the wind chill factor. It might be 10 below when we're in practice, and they want me to run some routes. And I'm like, dude, I'm bundled up. I can't do anything. He's like, and then it comes to game time, and it's 30 degrees and the wind is blowing, and they talking about running 20-yard out. Like, I don't want to be out there. He's like, I can't. I'm so happy to be here. It's like, he's like, the weight is off my shoulders, and I would never go to a cold weather team again. 2 years later, he signed with the Chiefs. I couldn't believe he signed with the Chiefs. After he told me that was the funniest shit. I'm in the locker room dying. he sees it. I'm cracking up. And you're supposed to be a reporter. I'm supposed to be objective, obviously, in the locker room and not showing no emotion, just asking these guys questions. I couldn't stop. It was really me. It was really me and him in the wide receiver section. The locker room was kind of empty, but I can't hold it in. I'm cracking up because he's telling me about this Florida kid going to Buffalo and how it was in Buffalo. I'm dying laughing in the locker room. It was some funny shit.
Well,
and then he goes ahead and signs with KC. So now when you throw up him in Baltimore, like, that's back to the same shit. So I don't know what he did win a championship with KC. Did he perform in cold weather? I don't remember him having a big game in cold weather. I'll leave it at that. Let's So I got your picks. I got your picks, Clinton. You'll be back on the show. We can revisit that. But let's take a little break here, and then let's talk about this NBA and why you're on the show.
Oh wow.
Let's talk about let's talk about Curry getting paid. Let's talk about Curry getting paid. Let's talk about Patty Mills going to Brooklyn. Let's talk about Lonzo, Caruso, and DeRozan. Also, Lakers ended up in
that's no big three, huh? That's no big three.
When we come back, we're gonna get into all of that, fans. So hold tight. Let's take a little break here, guys.
Yeah, let me go get properly prepared for this segment.
Waiting
for.
Oh man. Yeah, you saved the Lakers for last, huh? I see what you did there. I see what you did. Oh man. Hey, all I'm telling you, man, I got some ammunition for you today. So all right, if we gonna be civilized about this, or we just gonna jump into the dirt a little bit. Just let me know. We're gonna
talk about what's going on. We're gonna keep it real. We gotta keep it real for the fans. We can't second try. We gotta keep it real for the fans, and that means giving unbiased, objective opinions on the show. That's what that means.
All right, cool. I hope you're listening to yourself.
That means we got to give some unbiased, objective opinions on what's going on in the show. So,
hey man, shout out to you and your boy Haynes is breaking some bombshells, dog. I didn't know he was man. Some of the stuff that he I was just getting it from my buddies. I hit Twitter and he's coming out with all the juice before a lot of cats. So I'm like, oh, okay. All right.
You weren't familiar with Haynes?
Yeah. No, I've been following Hayes for years on YouTube or on Twitter. No, I'm just saying it's usually. I mean, it's Woes, it's it's Shams and all these other cats, right? That's what I see first. But yeah, he came out with a couple. I was like, oh, okay, he's moving up in the world there. He's on his grind. I'll give him that, man.
He's connected, bro. He's connected. Can you cut that noise off in the background?
He is ready. Clee is ready.
You're disturbing our fans. You're disturbing our fans. Can you cut that noise off in the background? Let's get right into this. So check it out. You kind of just touched on it. You just kind of touched on it, Clint. What do you guys think about Kawhi Leonard? And when Russ reached out to him and said he wanted to come play with the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard turned around and called him Paul George. Was that shiesty? Was that a power move? How do you guys see that?
Clee, you want to hit that first?
Yeah, I'll hit that first. I mean, I'm thinking that Kawhi, first and foremost, didn't want to play with someone that was as ball dominant as he is. So he didn't really want to. I think that he felt that Paul George was a better fit because Paul George is more complimentary. Let's be perfectly honest. This will be the first season that Russell Westbrook has ever had to be complimentary to anyone.
Whoa.
He wasn't complimentary to Kevin Durant. He wasn't complimentary really to Paul George. He wasn't really all that even complimentary to Bradley Beal. This will be the first time that he's going to have to tone his game down and kind of, shift gears a little bit. So I think when Kawhi Leonard was saying, Kawhi Leonard had the choice between the two, he felt that Paul George was a better fit, and I can't blame him for that.
I'm trying to keep my mouth shut. I'm trying not to say nothing to not disturb you. But go ahead, Clint. Go ahead, Clint.
Hey, Clint,
what you got, man?
Hey, honestly, I agree with most of what you just said. Honestly, I've watched one thing, and going forward, what a lot of people don't know about me, and I think I've told Cam this a few times. I don't watch just highlights, right? When I get time, I got mobile. When I'm at home, if I'm watching something, I'll actually watch something on the side. I watch whole games. I watch full games, right? I went back and I watched a few, I think game 4 and 5 of the 2012 finals. I went back and watched, I think it was game 3 of game 3 of the bubble playoffs against the Lakers. And just off of just that in itself,
who against the Lakers?
Clee is right. He is right.
Wait. Who are you talking about? Who played against the Lakers? Houston.
Houston.
Okay.
The Rockets. Yeah.
This player
2 years ago.
Let the fans know. Kind of let the fans know what we are.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm imagining. Hey, cats already know. West. He played with Westbrook played with Harden, and they played against Houston, and all that stuff. Clee is right. I can't remember. The first thing, and I told Cam this too. I told him this a long time ago. There is no reason on earth, unless Kevin Durant is hurt, that Westbrook should ever take more shots than him in a game.
All right, hold on.
It should never happen. It should never happen.
We're gonna come back around to Russ. We got time for that. But I want to know what you guys think. Was that a power move from Kawhi, or was that shiesty? We got to talk about Russ.
I'll jump right again. I'll jump into it. So first off, the call was initiated by Russ, right? That's what the reports say. Russ called Kawhi and said, "Hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Hey, you think this can work out?" Now that call comes to Kawhi in my opinion, of course, he's tired of getting blamed for OKC not doing anything, and he's averaging triple doubles every year, right? So I get that. The other part of it is he wants to go home, right? Okay. I mean, he's been wanting to come back to LA for a long time, but the opportunity hasn't presented itself. He's not one. Westbrook. We all know Westbrook. Westbrook is basically a Neanderthal when it comes to when his single focus, right? I'm a tough guy, and I dare you to challenge me to see if I'm tough or not, right? He's not the guy that's gonna, he's not gonna be the guy that's talking to everybody all the time. I don't think this is probably the first time that I've ever heard Westbrook even in some type of situation like this where he's on the phone with somebody initiating a call. Yeah, now, with that said, right, exactly. I've never heard it. Now, with that said, Kawhi had every reason to go after Paul George and not want to be with Westbrook. For one thing, everywhere Westbrook has gone, he has put up numbers. They have not won. They haven't. They have not gone anywhere. Now, with that said, Paul George, he reminds himself, Kawhi sees himself in Paul George because he's a two-way guy, good defense, solid offense. They basically can lock down, if they can take turns locking down people. That's the thought process before the move. We all know what happened the last couple of years. But that was his thought process. Hey, this is my twin. That's why he went after him. And that way,
twin is kind of strong. But
twin
is kind of strong. I feel what you're saying.
In theory.
To your point, also, what will Paul George do in a critical situation that Russell Westbrook has not shown the ability to do up until this season when he will have to do it?
Here we go.
As the approach is a better player, what you just alluded to.
Hey.
And Kawhi knew that because he already started playing with KD, right?
Hey, we strike fans. We strike.
What?
We strike.
Hey, let the man speak.
It's a power move. We already addressed it. It's a power move. But the reason that the power move happened is so obvious, right?
Hey. All right, I'm about to mute your mic. We will come back around, I promise you. Okay? We will come back around, I promise you. Let's talk about, so you got both make some wonderful points about the fit between Paul George and Kawhi and why that would be better than Russell Westbrook, Kawhi Leonard duel. You make some very good points, and I'm glad to hear them, actually. I'm glad to hear them. So we're going to come back around to Russ, I promise you. But what do you guys think about Steph Curry? 4 years, $215 million.
Well, they had to.
I should have worked on my jumper. I should have been working on my jumper at Meany Middle School instead of trying to
you know what, Cam? Here's the thing. Nobody could have forecasted. They couldn't. Like everybody say, "Oh yeah, I know he could shoot, and he should have been doing this when he came into the league." Oh hell no, Cam, our high school coach, legendary Al Harrison, former NBA player, turned coach. There's coaches. He is one of the coaches from the 70s era, 80s, all the way up until maybe 10 years ago when. You have your Dan Tonys and your other offensive coaches. Denver had was it Doug Moe? Yeah, Doug Moe. Those guys were offensive minded to the point where in most shots, before 14 seconds are good shots on the shot clock, right? The way that Mark Jackson came in, and he could. He doesn't just have Clay. Or Curry, he has Clay too, right? You got two guys basically in practice, and this is all in practice, right?
Yeah.
Basically shooting from 30 feet, half court, like it's nothing. Right? So what does Mark Jackson do?
And
Mark Jackson says
he hasn't recalled his dad hitting these same shots against him.
Right. Well, not from that far out, though. Not from that far out.
But he was pulling from three. He was pulling threes, and clearly knew that he had kind of coached that upon his boy.
No, but you have to. This is different though. When you're shooting from the coaches line on a regular basis,
Yeah.
that I mean, 95% of the coaches will have yanked him like right away. But Mark Jackson, we all knew that the season that he let them loose, you could tell because he was just saying, okay, I'm just gonna lunch. Because even before, if you go back from before that season, I think it was the year before, maybe it was 2 years before Mark Jackson got fired for Kerr. He let Clay and Curry launch from anywhere. And we were tripping because like, what is he do? Oh, it went in. Right? Yeah. When Curry started making them go in and then Clay started saying, oh, I could do that too. You know how that changed the game. That changed the game from here out to here. And that's what we see today.
That really changed the game. I mean, because everybody's pulling.
Yeah. So, but Curry, I mean, in relative terms of
that changed the game more so than them moving the 3-point line inside. I think.
Right. Exactly. That was so stupid. You remember that year that they moved the line in and everybody shot worse.
Yeah. Exactly. well, that was because there were so many more people shooting that.
Exactly. That's true. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
But Curry in those that season with Mark that you're talking about him and allowing Curry and Clay to kind of change the game, or allowing Curry and Clay to start shooting the ball from anywhere. That really changed the game to what we see it today.
Exactly.
We got your boy in Atlanta, Trae Young, just pulling up from everywhere. Yeah. You got a lot of cats just going in trying to
go Lillard.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Lillard. Oh come on, man.
Lillard. I think
Lillard wasn't pulling from there. He wasn't pulling from there like that.
He developed that shot though. He worked on that shot. He wasn't over the past years. He's like, I can do this too. And Clevon, you're gonna take this a different way, but in a Barry Bonds sense, Logo already had game. And then he saw everybody else doing this and say, hey, I'm not going to be left behind. Let me start pulling up and showing you cats what I can do as well. Not that he.
I'm just saying maybe he already had that though, and nobody saw it, right? Maybe he didn't have that.
He wasn't doing that.
I know he wasn't doing it, but that doesn't mean he didn't have it though.
True enough, but no, we didn't see it, and then now he's worked on it to where he's been killing people with that. So. He's shown that, as I think that game developed. Curry came in and he just had to get comfortable. He had to get comfortable in his ankles. He had to get comfortable in the rotation. And not only did Mark Jackson kind of open things up for him, but when Steve Kerr, took over, now he's implementing that running gun that they had in Phoenix. He's implementing the triangle, the mixture of that ball movement offense that allowed Curry to now create his own shot when he wanted to, kind of take cats off the dribble as he needed to. That rolling offense allowed just unleash Curry. Where Mark Jackson had kind of started and letting them feel free, that motion offense just let Curry just unleash. And that's, I mean, he's been, to your point, nobody kind of could have projected what we see from Curry, but 215 mil, bro.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? Dude, he got him to the finals 5 times. So that's not only
second contract like that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, he got him to the finals 5 times. That, you know what that means? That means extra revenue for the owners, for one. So they got paid. It's not like they can't afford it.
Yeah, they're certainly happy. And the way they have I wish you guys can get into the way they're building this. The way they're building this funded. They funded it. It was a privately funded stadium that has restaurants, concert halls. It has a bank attached to it. It has a bank attached to it. All that money gets funded right back to the Chase Bank, back to the conglomerate. So it's like a money pit, if you will, where everything that happens in and around the stadium funds the stadium, funds the salary, funds the team. It's so they're making money upon money.
Oh, that's smart.
It was brilliant, but they were the one, obviously, with that same situation. when the pandemic hit and they had nobody in the building.
Ooh,
They were losing money.
They were hurting a little bit.
Fortunately, billionaires can ride out those lean times a little easier, right?
There you go. Well, see, hey, dude, you talking about the team was losing money. I'm quite sure their investments were maturing with the. I mean, if you're just sitting back and all you're doing is just kind of riding out your investments, I mean, the money market people are going to put the money in the right places, right? Let's be honest. I mean, we can. That's a whole nother story altogether. The billionaires aren't hurt.
They're doing a little.
That's a write-off.
Yeah, essentially. So that, I mean, Curry, we all agree he earned it and kind of he changed the game. Kyle Lowry, PJ Tucker, Marquise Morris, all going to Miami. I've been telling somebody, Clint, that Miami Heat needed somebody. They had Bam doing way too much, kind of like they try to have Bam doing way too much on the Team USA. They had Bam serving popcorn. They had Bam making hot dogs. They had Bam cleaning the court. They had Bam washing the jerseys. They had Bam doing way too much down in Miami. So they finally get PJ Tucker now to play some defense. They finally get Marcus Morris to try to extend the defense out. Now they get Kyle Lowry to feed Bam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's I think that vaults Miami right up to number 2 or 3 in the division next year.
Clee, I see your face. I see your face. I think I'm thinking the same thing. I think I'm thinking the same thing you thinking. But go ahead.
I like what they've done. The addition of Kyle Lowry, spectacular. The only thing that I really wish Miami had.
That's going to be okay. That's just okay. I like PJ Tucker, Marcus Morris. If they got who was the center that went to the Lakers? If they got Andrew Drummond, I would have been more ecstatic with that move.
Because see, that's the point that I was just about to bring up. I was really interrupted. They're a really good, tough, gritty team that really plays really good defense, and they'll play really, really hard. They just don't have a true baller. They just need one that's kind of fluid and kind of get his own shot and kind of create his own game. And the game is not so hard for him.
Jimmy Butler?
Yeah, the game's hard for Jimmy. Jimmy works really, really hard. He'll give you all he has, but he's not like a true fluid hooper.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think he understands what you're talking about, Clee. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about.
Tracy McGrady is like a true fluid hooper.
Right.
The game doesn't come hard to him. It's just he can handle like everything that comes to him.
Yeah.
Jimmy is like, I'm gonna give you everything I have. I'm gonna be real intense, but the game is not. It doesn't come easy for him. The game doesn't really come easy for those guys. They'll be hard-minded, hard-nosed, Pat Riley type grinders. But sometimes you just need a hooper, and they just don't have one. They just need one.
I'm just saying,
you might have to be cut off.
You cutting Cleve's mic off and tell the truth, man. That's the truth. That's the truth. All right. So when he's talking about the game comes easier to some players and superstars than other superstars. Just think about Dwayne Wade. Think about how effortless he gets to his spots. Like effortlessly he gets to his spots. Dwayne Wade was never known for like being a consistent shooter of any kind. He's a scorer. He can put the ball in the hoop. But the way that he did it, it was so effortless. That's why I consider him, top 5 shooting guard of all time, just because of that. With Butler's a hard worker. He worked hard to get to where he is. Like he has natural physical gifts, but getting to his spots, it looks like he's working so much harder to get to his spots. Even though he's effective when he does it, it drains him. It drains him of his energy. And that's true. But that's what happened in the finals. You could see it. When he do it with LeBron in game 4 or game 5, game 6, he was done. He was absolutely done because he had worked so hard to get to his spots. He couldn't do it anymore.
They were counting on Duncan Robinson as a rookie. They were counting on Robinson. They were counting on Robinson.
Tyler Hero. I mean, they had some pieces that they weren't necessarily right.
The rookie Tyler Hero. But I think both of them were rookie. They're relying on those guys. So of course, when he's the only guy on the court who can kind of get his shot, of course it should be difficult. When the defense can focus on you, it should be difficult. However, now, going into this season, they have now a point guard who can legitimately say, okay, go post up down low and hit your turnaround jumper. Or now he doesn't have to bring the ball up court. He doesn't have to get the rebound. Or he doesn't have Bam have to defend the biggest man on the court, get the rebound and dribble it up and make the correct entry pass to Butler, who can now, because Bam is making the entry pass from the top of the key, the opposing team center can just slide over and double team Butler. It's not going to be that difficult. I understand the point that you're saying. He's not as fluid as a Tracy McGrady. Correct. Yes, you have a very good point, Clevon. That's point number 2 you made on the show, Clevon. We should be week 150. Clevon made 2 great points on the show. 150 shows, but we can get 2 points on the Clevon. So good point, Mr. Clevon. However, now since neither one of you kind of trying to agree with what I say, what do you have this new compilation of the Miami Heat with Victor Oladipo, by the way, actually. Marquise Moore, PJ Tucker, Duncan Robinson gets a big deal. Jimmy Butler, now Kawhi. Where do you guys? Not Kawhi, Kyle Lowry. Where do you guys have them finishing in the Eastern Conference now? We're talking about the Eastern Conference. Obviously, we have Milwaukee and the Nets, the 1 and 2. Boston isn't going to be there. Philly is going to be 3. Okay, you have Milwaukee, Philly, and the Nets. 1, 2, 3. Okay, in any order. Who is behind the Heat? The Hawks. The Hawks just lost. Well, they did get Collins. They lost them. They
kept Collins. They re-signed Collins and Ice Tray.
They lost somebody else. I'm sorry. They lost. They lost.
It slips my mind. I totally forgot. I'll look it up.
However, so they're not vaulting to top 3. Cleveland.
That's number 4. You just named 3 teams before you said Atlanta.
Well, he named 4.
I said the Heat.
Yeah, he put Heat. He put Heat 4.
I got the Heat 4. Atlanta's not vaulting over those guys. Atlanta's not.
I don't know.
I know. I can tell you. me and Pat can tell you. Listen to Pat. Anyway,
and Pat's my guy. I mean, let's be honest. I'm a big Riley fan. I mean, I see what you're saying. That's possible, but that's as high as they can get, right? I mean, I'll even give you the 4. They probably at this point have more depth than Atlanta. So I'll even give you the 4.
I'm not saying
Capella and
I'm not winning the East. I'm not saying they're winning the East. I said they're going to be that vaults them up to the 3 or 4 in the East. That's what I said.
Who? Atlanta?
No, Miami.
Oh, Miami. I don't know. Like Kyle Lowry is the ultimate NBA player as far as being able to be a star, which he was. I mean, let's not lie about it. He was a star in Toronto, for a while there. But he's also one of the ultimate role players. Yeah, Kawhi came for 1 year,
and you just need him to play a role, though.
I know, I get it, and he will. He 100% will.
We're not expecting you go for 20 and 10 every night, Kyle.
He's not going to do that.
We need 16, 17, and 8 and 9. That's all we need from you, and then just continuously put the ball in the right places. Be that go-to. We need you to be just a little bit better than Goran Dragic, or more consistent than Goran Dragic. That's what we need out of you.
All right.
We'll give you the. All right, you got it, Cam. The Miami Heat will be the number 4 team in the Eastern Conference.
No, I don't. 4 or 5 doesn't matter anyway. They're gonna play each other.
I don't really. Yeah, I mean, what do we like? Semantics here.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the only thing is going to be exactly nothing. It's like you're going to play. Basically, we're talking about the 2 teams that are going to play each other, unless unless something drastic happens, right? So they're going to be 4 or 5 no matter what.
So you guys tell me what Lonzo, Caruso, and DeRozan with Zach LaVine and then Vukovic. What did that do for the Bulls? Did that have them? Did that get them to the playoffs?
I'm sorry. Did I hear any defense in those names? Was there defense in here anywhere?
What? Hey, wasn't Caruso? Wasn't the Caruso one of the best defenders in the league? By advanced metrics last year.
Advanced metrics.
Did you hear something about Levine signing an extension with those guys? Or
no, but he's gonna be. What do you mean? He's there. He's there. He's not going.
No,
nowhere.
he's there. No, he's
not
there.
going nowhere.
No, he's not going anywhere. No.
He's
At least from what he said he's looking forward to moving forward with Chicago. Now that they got DeRozan and they picked. Well, they have some weapons.
And they sound like a solid number 7, number 8.
I
mean, a solid number 7, number 8.
I'm with you there. I'm with you there. I'm not.
I mean, right in there with the Charlotte Hornets and the Indiana Pacers and the Boston Celtics. They're right there.
My God,
they're right there in the mix. I mean, mention the Wizards. They're right there in the mix with all of them.
Hey,
that's a cold shot. The Celtics.
Speaking of the Wizards, they end up with Dinwiddie, Spencer Dinwiddie. Does Spencer Dinwiddie now with Bradley Beal and that compilation of trash they got from the Lakers along Kuzma, KCP, Harrell,
Montrezl Harrell, Michael Cooper.
You rough on those cats. It's trash, huh?
I mean, Harrell. Hey, you guys, I would rather go with Rui Hachimura than Montrezl Harrell at this point.
Dude, it's not even about that, though, because you know what you're going to get from Trez. You're going to get 16 or 17 and 9 rebounds. That's what you know. You're just going to get it. He doesn't even have to improve as a player. He doesn't have to get post moves. He doesn't have to do anything. You know what he's going to do.
I feel you. I like Trez. I like Trez as a person. I'm just... My question is, what does that do for Washington? So they got these 4 players, these role players for Washington, and they get Spencer Dinwiddie. Let's assume Spencer comes out with the same player he was before he got hurt. Let's just assume that. This would be a first year off. Usually, guys take about a full season.
I think one thing that it brings is that you don't have this hedging back and forth in your backcourt between, again, who's the dude, right? It's now Bradley Beal's team.
Here we go
and the walking triple-double is walked, out the door and went to the West Coast, and you have a point guard that's a little bit more, distribution-minded and, probably bringing everyone into the fold as opposed to I can get mine anytime I want, so I'm going to go and get mine. So it brings a different mindset, and, we'll see where Kuzma's head is. We'll see what KCP can do out there. He's been in LA for a minute, kind of acclimated to that culture. So, new coach, new regime. I mean, it's too hard to say and too early to really predict.
I'm not sure that's a playoff team. I think they're competing.
Well, I know Westbrook and the Lakers actually set you off, Cam. So I'm going to try to keep my rebuttal to a minimum on that. But Spencer Dinwiddie is a solid player. I mean, I'm not gonna. I mean, he was doing well until he was hurt, right? And it's unfortunate that he doesn't get to stay, with the Nets. I mean, they could have used him.
He wanted to get paid.
Oh my God, yeah, exactly, right. He wanted to get paid. I get that. I get that 100%. Now, with that said, though, Westbrook drugged them to the playoffs with Beal. Let's not make a mistake on that. That was Westbrook helping the younger players get better, right? Put them in a better position to get easier shots. That's how you make other players better. That's how you build their confidence, right? That's what he does. Now, with that said, there's a ceiling. There's a ceiling to what Russell Westbrook can do by himself. Now, with Dinwiddie, can he take over a game? Can he boost his teammates to be better? A little bit, maybe. We didn't really see that because they had Karis LeVert, like Mr. Buckets over there getting his whenever he wanted. He didn't need Spencer Dinwiddie to do anything for him. Right. So we would see Spencer Dinwiddie and his so-called 40-inch vertical that he said he had with Don't get me started on that. That was
now that's gonna be more like
that
35.
just irritated me to exactly
Now it's
right.
gonna be more
Never
like
saw it, but yeah, I mean he's not taking over a game when it needs to be taken over at the drop of a hat. Like he has to be in a rhythm to do that. Westbrook can miss. He could go 2 for 20, but he'll still have 15 rebounds, 14 assists, right? So as far as Washington goes, that nice little playing game, or the playoff stint that they got from last year, that's gone. That's gone.
Okay,
Cats may get better. Kyle Kuzma's going to take
he's not
shots
gonna
away from
elevate.
Rui. So Rui's not going to develop because of Kyle taking more shots. If he's in the starting lineup, I guarantee you Kyle's going to try to take 20 shots a game. Guaranteed. It's a guarantee.
As he should.
Should he? Should he?
So
why?
I watched Kyle Kuzma. I went to Summer League.
The Summer League. I was fooled too.
Listen.
All right.
So in July they had Team USA. In July they had Team. This is 2019. In July it was Team USA.
I remember that.
The next week it was Summer League. Kyle Kuzma played in both of them. Team USA was a little bit because of the talent that was there. In Team USA, I mean, De'Aaron Fox, Kimball was there. Yeah. Your boy from Boston, both dudes from Boston, Tatum.
Yeah, Tatum and
Brown. They even had Mitchell Robinson was there. Your boy from Indiana.
Nice.
What's the
Turner? The shot blocker. Yeah. Turner. Yeah.
So the competition was good, but the theme, and it was weird just how in the media, the group of media, how one thing will stick, like the theme of the room was Kuzma has to step up and shine in this room, on the court here. He needs to step up and show that he can be an NBA player. And, he can be more than just an NBA player. Everybody was talking Kuzma and their expectations of him. They wanted to see defense out of Kuzma. They wanted to see if he can step up and be a consistent scorer. Against this better talent than he had, that was before LeBron was signed with the Lakers.
Right.
Maybe I think it was he signed that year, but this is the summer before he played with the Lakers.
Right. Yeah.
So they're looking for Kuzma to kind of be the guy on that Lakers team, if you recall, because they didn't have a guy. Kuzma played defense. I mean, I got video of it. I got video of Kuzma actually getting in the stance and picking up guys at the half court line, and then running. Yeah. They were running plays for him where he's at the box, putting having his turnaround moves. He's pulling up in jumpers. Kuzma actually played until he sprained his ankle. He sprained his ankle that summer against team in the summer league. Excuse me. He was playing good against the Team USA in the summer league. I think he sprained his ankle that first week of practice. I thought
Lonzo got hurt and Kuzma got the.
No, Lonzo wasn't there. Lonzo, that was the year after.
Was that a year before?
I think that was year
before. No. Because they played in the summer league together, and Lonzo got hurt, and Kuzma got the MVP.
So it had to be the next year. It had to be the next year. I was here. I'm saying so the next year. But Lonzo sprained his ankle and didn't play the summer league. Not Lonzo. Kuzma sprained his ankle, didn't play the summer league, but he played against Team USA, and he was balling. He was balling against Team USA. So I saw that. I expected more, but again, when you're playing with a certain personality, a certain someone who shadows the locker room, takes all the air of the locker room, you're not able to breathe and exhale, right?
Here we go.
So that kind of hampered you mentioned it. You mentioned moments ago that he he will be able to flourish in Washington because he doesn't have that guy sucking the air out of the locker room. You just mentioned that, Clint. So
I didn't say sucking the air out of the locker room. I don't remember saying that at all.
No, but you use the term relative to that, and essentially.
is that the jump? Is that how you got there? Okay, all right. I was wondering how you got there. I don't know how you got there.
So no, and I just say that to say that Kuzma has that in him, and when you say should he be taking those 20 shots, I say yes, because that will allow him to breathe, that will allow him to flow, and I've seen him get into the game and do some things. Now, will he progress to next year be an all-star? I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying.
Cam, can I say something here real quick? Cam, man, interject here real quick.
Yeah.
2 years ago, when the Lakers traded for Anthony Davis, Kyle Kuzma was an untouchable.
Right.
You can have Lonzo.
That was
the rest of them.
That was why
Kyle Kuzma's an untouchable.
That was why.
Right?
And that, yes,
from that little bit that you saw. And the reason that he was is because he would always show flashes of brilliance. You're like, ooh, once that dude really puts it all together, he's that next guy.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But then they had 2 years and he never put it together. And just like you're saying, he's one of those guys. Unlike in our first analogy where ODB, he kind of needs to be in the spot where it's going down for him to flourish. Kyle Kuzma needs the exact polar opposite, man. He needs to be someplace where it just doesn't really matter, and they just like him for just who he is, just for being that guy.
So in
San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Milwaukee,
it might happen for him.
Those kind of places are Kyle Kuzma kind of towns, man.
Exactly.
LA playing next to LeBron, that's a little bit too much.
Okay.
We already traded Lonzo and kept you.
So, yeah, exactly. Because everybody was talking about keeping Ingram. How come they didn't keep Ingram? They should have kept Ingram. The deal wasn't going to go through without Ingram going, right? The Pelicans weren't. They said if Ingram's not in, this is no deal. That was a no deal, and you should know. I know you know that. You should know that. If I know that, you should know that. So I know that for sure.
So since you guys just can't hold yourself. You guys just can't hold yourself. Neither one of you guys can just hold yourself.
I'm not even done yet. So go ahead, though. I got more.
Let's go ahead and talk. Let's go ahead and talk about. Is Andrew Bynum? Did Andrew Bynum sign with the Lakers? Did Devin Jones? Did they call up Eddie Jones? Did Eddie Jones sign over the next?
I just posted a rumor that James Worthy just signed for the 1 year AARP contract.
Yeah, I saw that.
He only needs 10 minutes.
That's all he needs. That's all he needs.
So Andrew Bynum, how much time Andrew Bynum gonna get? Is Devin George? What kind of Devin George got 3 of them too? He got 3 consecutive too. I mean, you want Devin George back? I mean, after signing Malik Monk, you got Wayne Ellington. Come on, man. And they did pick up Kendrick Nunn. I didn't particularly.
You weren't happy about that one, huh?
I wasn't particularly a fan of that one. Malik Monk has some potential as well. But guys, you guys have been talking about Russell Westbrook. How he has in his how many years has Russell been playing? 13 years now? 13
about
years
that. Close to it, yeah.
Since 2008 to
12 or something. Is it 12?
Since the year after they drafted KD, Russ was next.
Yeah, he was a year after, yeah. 12 years. 12 years. 12.
Okay. 12
well, going on 13, I guess, yeah.
He has never been a complimentary player. And now all of a sudden you guys expect him to be a complimentary player? How does that happen after 12 years?
You're not looking at it. You're not looking at it in the right lens, though. You're not looking at it in the right lens.
Purple and gold. You're right. I don't have purple and gold lenses. You're right.
It's not even about that. You know what it is. You know what it's about, and you're partially right. I'm not even going to lie about that. That's the Laker Nation has an expectation that Russell Westbrook is going to finally do some things in a role that's going to help a team get farther than the first round of the playoffs, or the second round of the playoffs, right? So, I mean, he went to the finals once, but that was as far as he's gone. And that was with KD and Harden and Ibaka and all, they were loaded. I don't care how old they were or the pups or whatever they like to say. They made it to the finals and they blitzed everybody on the way there. Now, with that said,
ownership should have
what we're looking for as basketball fans and Laker fans, what we're looking for is we're looking for Westbrook to not only, play off the ball and bring his energy and push the offense, but we're looking for him to shore up the second unit.
Oh, you got Westbrook coming
if he can set we're staggering him. We're staggering Russell. Russell, instead of playing, the first 7-8 minutes and subbing out, we're going to have him play, the first 9 to 11 minutes of the quarter, right? So when AD and LeBron sit, the bench comes in, he's still pushing the energy. He's still dropping off those dimes, making it easier for them to score, making it easier for them to hit their open 3-point shots. That's what he's going to be doing. He's going to show up more of the second lineup.
So you want Russell, this is what you're expecting. Russell to make Ellington, Malik Monk. You expecting Russell to make these guys shine.
The only thing they have to do to shine, to be honest with you, all they have to do is play good team defense, decent at least, and then hit their open shots.
Bro, come on.
They're all hovering around 40 or over 40% last year. And that was on the teams that they were on. Go back and look at the teams that they were on, and they were hitting those shots, right? You got AD, you got LeBron, and you have Westbrook. How are they not going to get wide open shots? How?
Clint, what did Kevin Love do? What was he doing in Minnesota before he went to Cleveland? What was he telling?
He was in the post.
I know
he was in the post. Yeah, he was in the post. He was getting 26 and 12. He was. He was getting 26 and 12.
And what happened when he went to Cleveland?
When he went to Cleveland, they moved him outside because they knew he could shoot, and it would open it up.
No, don't try to justify it. What happened when he went to Cleveland? That's 26 and 12.
He had to adjust his game because he was playing with the king. Is that where you're going with this? He had to adjust his game because he was playing with the king, LeBron James.
When you're playing with different talent, things don't
happen. The same way Chris Bosh had to adjust his game when he was playing with the king.
So
Russell Westbrook is going to have to adjust his game playing with the king.
Trevor Ariza, Wayne Ellington, and Kent Bazemore are Chris Bosh?
No. Why are you bringing up sinners in the first place? Why are you bringing up sinners anyway? I don't understand that. That doesn't make that's bad examples though. You're doing that on purpose too. You're doing that on purpose. That's bad examples for one thing. Kevin Love was 26 and 12 because he was a beast inside. He could shoot the mid-range shot. He wasn't shooting a whole lot of threes in Minnesota. How many championships did they win in Minnesota? Or did they even make the playoffs in Minnesota? Exactly. Okay. All right. Now Bosh put up numbers in Toronto. He put up numbers in Toronto, and I like Bosh, and I voted for him for the All-Star games, even with his commercials, because he was fringe All-Star. He had to do his own commercials to get people to laugh and, oh, man, that guy's funny. We need to get him in there. Yeah, and that's sad because he should have been a straight All-Star vote. He was mostly mid-range, and he was inside, too. They made him play center, which was stupid at times because he's not a center. And guess what? How many playoff runs did they make? How many? I know this. I'm asking you. I know. I've already done all the research on that. In Toronto, how many?
Nothing.
They did get one. They got in. They got one. They got bounced in the first round. Now, with that said,
they didn't make any noise. Is what I'm saying.
Monk, Ariza, Bazemore. None of those guys had the workload ever that those two had. None of them played the same position that they had. You know what they did do? They were 3-and-D guys. Now Bazemore is kind of. I mean, I don't know if he can really shoot or not. I don't know. I'll be honest. He's an energy guy though, and I like that. However,
he's running your fast break.
How much do they have to change though? That's what I'm saying. They don't have to change like Bosh and Love because they can already shoot the three. And basically, Love in the middle in Cleveland was not going to get them to the finals at all. It was not going to happen.
Did Trevor Ariza play against you in AAU? Did Trevor Ariza play against you in AAU?
No, I'm way older than Ariza. Way
not
older
much.
than a Ariza.
Not much. That's the point I'm making. He's not much. Okay.
No.
Trevor Ariza played in UCLA in 2003. Okay. So what did he the 3 and D you're expecting from Trevor Ariza is more like is more.
Did you watch? Hold on, wait a minute. Did you even watch the games that he played in the playoffs? Did you even watch those games? You didn't watch them, did you? Because you wouldn't be saying that if you would have watched those games that they played. Because when I went back and watched, which I did the other day, he was solid, and they were playing him minutes. They were playing him minutes. It wasn't because they didn't have anybody else. They knew he had the experience to match up with the people that they had.
Are you sure?
Like they could have ran any of those guys out there and played a zone, but they didn't do it. They put Ariza on the second, not the first, but the second most dangerous people on the court.
He didn't play a whole season with Miami. What are you talking about? They picked him up. We got
right. I know. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, let's throw him in the game. Let's see what he has left. They didn't have any. Who are they gonna put out? Mitchell Robinson? They're gonna put not Mitchell Robinson. They're going to Duncan Robinson. They're gonna put Tyler Hero out there. They're gonna put Tyler.
What you mean? Did they not just go to the finals last year? Why not? Why not?
Those guys. Yes, you're gonna put Trevor Ariza in the game for your defense over Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson.
Yeah,
of course you're gonna do that. You Cleveland, you and I would do that. That doesn't say Trevor Ariza is a great defender.
I didn't say great. You don't have to be great at 37.
I think that's what you're expecting from him.
No. I'm not expecting that at all. I'm saying team. There's a difference between being a lockdown defender, like Kawhi Leonard when healthy, and being a good team defender, like Andre Iguodala in his older years. He wasn't locked down. All he had was his long arms and swiping at the ball to make sure that he disrupted shots. Basically, he funneled people right into the heart of the defense and put his long arms up for deflections. That's what he did.
Clevon, you want to get in this before I continue to eat you guys up? You want to get into this?
Yeah.
Three quick points, Cam. 3 quick points. The Lakers are not built for long term. They're built to win the championship next year.
Thank you.
They did also have the addition of
the
10th greatest scorer in the history of the NBA.
You said that 2 years ago, Cam.
Oh my goodness! Oh my!
They did also pick up.
I really got to that guy.
They did also pick up Dwight Howard. So, yeah, Russell's going to tone his game down. He's going to use his basketball IQ a little bit more. He's going to see the court a little bit differently than he just has to do everything all the time. When he looks around and he sees other players that are capable. Because now, like we've all said, it's 13 years later, and he hasn't played for the championship in 10 years. So this is a golden opportunity to do so, and he's going to take advantage of it. The team is going to come together.
Well, think of it this way, and you mentioned this before, Cam. We know there's going to be people sitting out. There's going to be load management. You will hopefully AD doesn't get hurt, but if he does get nicked up, guess who's going to pick up the slack? Like if you're talking about not toning down, then good. Then that part, no, he's not going to tone down when there's another starter that's out of the lineup. 100%. I know that for a fact because he thrives in those situations. You know what? I can't wait for. Let me see. Westbrook usually takes about probably 3 to 4 weeks of the first part of the season to kind of feel out everything. Right, see what he needs to do, where he needs to work out.
The serious injury that he comes back from more explosive than before the injury.
Exactly, and I can't wait to talk to you when Westbrook comes back with a 26, 18, and 14 game because it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. And no, don't say of course. Don't say of course because you're talking about
They play the Kings 4 times a year, so okay.
No, whatever, right? You think it's just going to be against the Kings? That's what you're saying? Like he can't do that against the Warriors, which they're coming back, or he can't do that against or any of the top teams, which he has, absolutely has.
Continue your point, man. Because
I'm just saying.
I'm doing you guys up, man.
What you're missing is you're basically going off of the creature of habit, which Westbrook is. However,
we have 13 years of established history.
I get that, but you know what we have in the last few months of history? We have a piece of the story that we didn't know, that he was trying to get back to LA. We didn't know that until recently. And then to be able to be passed over for Paul George when he made the initial contact with that person to be able to link up and with the Clippers, that in itself not only is it infuriating, it's humbling. Because now we all know it. And everybody's saying, oh, Westbrook's going to be just like you, Cam. Like everybody's saying Westbrook's never going to change his stripes. He's never going to change his stripes, which is weird because they were saying the same thing about Dwight Howard before he got to the Lakers 2 years ago.
Oh, the second time?
He was on like 4 or 5 different teams in 4 or 5 different years. And they said Dwight Howard's never going to change. He's always going to foul out. He's never going to be he's never going to get to the point where he's helping the team.
Out of the most games last season with the 76ers.
No, I mean he still is, but guess what? He's making a difference. He got a ring. He's a champ. He's a champ now.
He made the difference, and they shouldn't have let him go. That's the Lakers shitting on him like they.
That's the truth. I believe that.
Ariza 10 years ago. If I was Ariza, I would laugh at you guys. I'd have wiped.
What, Ariza?
Yeah, they shit on.
But that's not the same people in there though. That was Dr. Buss's son doing that stupidness right back then. Yes, it was. It was his son. Oh, and Rambis. Oh, you mean know who you're talking about too. It was him too. Kupchak. Yeah. Now Kupchak, don't get me started on him either. Kupchak was nothing without Jerry West. Jerry West was the mastermind of that whole era before Phil Jackson came in there and dismissed him like he was nothing. And Jerry West basically cussed him out on the way out.
So let's talk about this.
Don't get me started on it.
Let's talk about this. So we have an injury-prone Anthony Davis. Injury-prone Anthony Davis. We don't expect if the 82 games on the schedule, he might play 60 games, right? We agree on that. I
can't disagree with that at all.
So not a go-to guy. He's proven that he's not a go-to guy. That's number one. He's won one.
No, Anthony Davis.
Wait. Hold on. Yeah, you mean
roll that back.
Somebody you're talking about Iron Man type go-to guy, right? Just to be in, he's going to be in the lineup.
Yeah, you can count on him. He's proven he can count on him for one series in his outside of being with LeBron. You got to look at that differently. With LeBron, without LeBron, he's only proven that he can play one series. Again, that's against the Portland Trail Blazers when they swept them unexpectedly, right? They swept them.
Well,
you can only count on him for one series. That was one series. And
that wasn't just him, though. They still had Rondo and Holiday, too.
When you say Westbrook carried those cats to the Wizards to the playoffs last year?
With Beal. Beal.
No, that's not what you said earlier. You said
I said with Beal. Okay. With Beal.
LeBron drugged those same guys through the bubble, right? And I'll give him credit. That was the best show of leadership that I've seen from I won't even say LeBron. That was a great show of leadership when he drugged the Lakers through the bubble, right, to win that championship. He kept them focused, playing the video games, drinking, sipping on his wine, promoting his wine making sure everybody had his wine to drink on, make sure the cellars were filled with his wine so he can make some money. That was a great job of leadership that LeBron was doing, dragging those guys to the bubble, and they got a championship. Right? Nobody can argue that the championship is done. Whether it's a government experiment where that was a bubble or anything, they did get a ring for that. There won't be no parade. There won't be no parade in LA, but at least they did get.
I know that hurt you to say that, Cam, and I know you got delight in knowing that they're not going to have a parade too. So that's hey, progress.
So listen. So
childish, petty to bring that
up. So now you guys want to tell me that you're going to count on the player. Clint, you can't argue this. You were one of the main ones perpetuating this ideology that Russell Westbrook has the worst basketball IQ of any superstar. You've been the one to perpetuate that for multiple years now. And then all of a sudden now Now he's going to snap into it. Now he's going to be able to understand when and where to hit his spots. Okay, he's never. You guys both mentioned it earlier tonight in this show, less than an hour ago, that Russell has never had to be a complimentary player. He hasn't done it with KD. He didn't do it with
Harden.
James Harden. He didn't do it with Paul George. And now all of a sudden you're expecting him to do it now?
Bradley Beal too. So I'm going.
Beal?
You make a great point, and
Yeah.
and I'll be honest with the voice of the fans. You guys that are listening in, Cam is 100% right. I have been one of the people dragging on Westbrook for a while now.
Let's just say a smooth decade.
No. I didn't. No. Well,
let's just say a smooth decade.
Sort of through like the last 2 years at OKC, I was really on it. I was really on him then, just because.
In the finals,
yeah,
again,
I was.
You said you watched the finals just the other day. And
yeah.
Did you have the same thoughts that were occurring back in 2012?
Well,
a couple of days ago, or did that
when
change all of a sudden he signed with the Lakers? That changed.
When he scored 42 in the finals, and they barely lost, I was like, okay. Because KD didn't have it going in the fourth quarter, and Westbrook absolutely went crazy. I was like, oh, okay, all right, I see. So he can pick up the slack, if KD isn't into the game. Okay, good, all right. But after that, it went south, right? So and I'm like, okay. So when he jumps in and he goes to
when the refs called a foul, didn't call a foul on KD, and they didn't call a foul on KD.
I know.
It would have been an and one, and then the OKC would have went up with like 3 minutes on the clock.
I know. No. That was good. Was it game 5 or game 4? I can't remember. I think it was game 4. It was game 4 when that happened. So no, I get it. I get what you're saying. Well, what I'm telling you, and what I've been trying to tell you for the last couple hours, is Westbrook has never played with a guy that is, for his entire career, has managed to be a 27-7-7 guy. Or did I teach so many 7? 27-7-7 for almost his entire career, and get ridiculed for passing too much. So when I tell you that LeBron was willing to bring in Anthony Davis, a top 5 player in the league, and say, "Hey, it's your turn. It's your turn. It's your turn to actually come through." It's not even about the pressure; it's about the workload. There's no pressure. The numbers are there. Let's not pretend like this guy didn't go to the finals and lead both teams in 5 major categories. You're talking about pressure. That's not pressure. That's doing everything. That's too much. He's doing too much.
Was that
Hold on, wait. I'll tell you when that was. That was 2016. It was 2017.
5 years ago.
It was 20. It was wait. It was 2015. Wait. Hold on. It was 2015. It was 2016. It was nearly 2018, and it was also in 2020. Go back and look at your stats. LeBron dominated that finals. And everybody like you was talking about AD. Hey, AD's gonna get gypped out of the finals MVP because it's LeBron and then AD laid an egg in game 3, and LeBron didn't, and ended up getting the NBA finals at the age of what, 36 or 30, maybe 36. Go back and check those stats. Go back and check those all that. Go back and check them. You're not checking. You're not checking the stat. Not only are you know what, Cam? I give you this. You know you my guy. My bro.
Hold on.
You know your stuff. You know your stuff. I've never denied that at all. You know your stuff. But just like you think about me, which I don't think is true. I mean, we have to ask a third party like Clee. Clee will let you know for sure. There is a serious bias that you have against certain teams. and certain players, and that's well documented. It's not even. I'm not putting the jacket on you that you haven't worn for literally years. Like we all know, how you feel about LeBron and how he gets too much shine. You just said it. You kind of exposed yourself by saying he sucks the air out of the room. You're listening to KD. You're listening to Kyrie. You're listening to the people who are trying to be what he wants. Kyrie left Cleveland because he couldn't do the certain things that he wanted to do and get, because LeBron was getting all the credit for it, right? So here's my thing let me lay it out. So if Westbrook will not listen to LeBron and basically fall into the role that the team needs him to fall into, then I will go with you 100% about Westbrook being a one-trick pony. Like
Clint, you were going.
No. I'm not. I know. I said that. However, which one of those players have the leadership qualities that LeBron James has? Which one of them are ready to sit back and actually sit back when a better talent or a younger, better talent, which this is what you guys said, AD is better than LeBron James, and he was willing to sit back and let things flow through. Let AD. This is you. You handle it. This is a dude that's a 60-20 guy. He's been 60-20 about 3 or 4 times in his career, right? So you got to let that guy fly. Now, if LeBron's telling you, like, hey, we're going to let you do your thing, but you got to, hey, there's a role that you got to play so that we can actually get to the next level. If he doesn't do that, then I'll 100% I'll go with that. But right now, he's coming to a place where you just said it, one of the best leaders in the NBA today, right? He may not do everything that you guys like, but when it comes to the team, whether and he said this the other day too, it kind of cracked me up. LeBron being the GM, who did LeBron bring in now? Like all those guys. Remember in 2018 when he had all like Isaiah Thomas and Wade and Jay Crowder and all those guys, and they're like, how much help does LeBron need? And then all of a sudden the locker room wasn't meshing. And guess what? Most of those guys got dropped off on the side of the road, ended up going somewhere else. They picked up Clarkson. They picked up Clarkson. They picked up Nance, and then they rolled with those cats. Lesser talent, younger, ready to fill roles. What did they do? They went to the damn finals.
With those former
let me do this. No. Let me get this in too. You're the guy you just brought up as an example as one of the guys that modified his game for LeBron. Love got hurt beginning of game 6 against a team that had them down 3-2. He went on without Love to finish that game, and then he closed out game 7.
So
I'm just saying that was without Love.
That's 5 years ago.
I'm just saying. But then what? Does the experience leave? Does he forget about it? You know LeBron doesn't forget nothing. That.
The experience doesn't leave, but when Clint, you've been in locker rooms.
Yeah.
You've been in locker rooms. If the leader, the guy who's talking the most, isn't able to perform on the court, he doesn't claim or still have that volume reduces. If you're not able to get on the court and continue to perform, that volume reduces, does it not?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Yeah, it depends on who you're talking about. Yeah,
that volume dissipates because now we're in what year? 19? Is it 19 for
18?
Number what number
18.
is he? I don't even know what number is he. He was 23.
Just go ahead and say his name. It's okay. This ain't Candyman. Go ahead and say his name. It's okay.
This is year 19.
You still good. It's 18. It's year 18, sir. It's year 18. Jesus.
You want to bring up what he did in 2016, 2015, 2016. Okay.
2018 and 2020.
When he drugged this band of bums
Ooh,
finals
okay,
championship.
that's a little strong.
Come on.
You call Colin Clarkson a bum. Come on now, Nance. You calling Nance a bum now?
Come on, man. Is he still on the team? Is he still?
I don't know. I think Nance is still on the team. I don't know.
Nance is still over there balling in Cleveland.
There you go. Exactly.
Now you're bringing guys in like Kendrick Nunn. Well, excuse me. Let me eliminate.
Ah!
Now you're
Catch
bringing
yourself.
now you're bringing guys like Wayne Ellington, Malik Monk, and Carmelo Anthony.
Why are you talking bad about Malik Monk? You know Malik Monk can score.
You know he's about to go off.
You know that.
He's the surprise in all this. For
Yeah,
real.
you know that.
I'm
and
more
he's
happy
young
with the
too.
Malik Monk move than the Russell Westbrook move.
Ooh.
Because now they have that spot-up shooter that they've been missing all the time.
So now you're putting in Malik Monk ahead of Russell Westbrook in the rotation?
I said I'm more happy with that move.
Is that?
Hold on. Okay, Cam, hold on, wait. For the people, I'm going to give you no. Let me give you a chance to frame what you're trying to say. I want you to frame what you're trying to say about what's going to happen to the Lakers coming forward. And let's let for some minor miracle, we'll throw out the injuries. Let's say they don't. Let's just say they don't. Stars don't miss more than 10 games this season. Let's say that. Let's just say they don't miss more than 10 games. Sure. What are you saying is going to happen to the Lakers in the regular season and going into the playoffs? What do you say?
Would I project the Lakers to do with this talent, with this roster now that they have here? Here's one way that this could work. Here's a way that the compilation of
let me get my paper out. I'm going to write this down.
Of Russell Westbrook to KD and LeBron. Here's the way that this can work. LeBron and AD take a step back because we've seen Russell hasn't done that for multiple years. For a dozen years in the league, Russell hasn't taken a step back. If LeBron and AD has the wherewithal to say, okay, let Russ cook, Clevon. You've heard that term before. Let Russ cook through the regular season. They scale back their minutes. LeBron stop trying to play Iron Man and trying to go after Jordan's scoring record.
He can't do it without taking shots.
He stopped trying to go after Kareem's scoring record. And he reduces to 25 minutes a game.
25? What?
25, 30 minutes a game. AD, he shouldn't be around that 35, 36, 38 minutes a game, which he's been. He needs to be more around that 28, 29, 30 minutes a game. AD just be able to stay alive for that 38 minutes a game, or to give me the 28 minutes a game. Allow Russ to, as you stated earlier, let Russ cook. Russ is going to get him to, Russ alone to get him to 40 wins, right? So then you add LeBron and you add AD. Now they're at 55 wins. Okay, they're at 55 wins. They're 2 or 3 in the West. What do we got in the West? We're gonna have Golden State.
Hey Cam, check this out, man.
No,
Russ can get some run. He can do some things here and there. Have some big games. Do some things. The Lakers already have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. He's coming in to be a complimentary player. And he's going to be a complimentary player.
I'm explaining. Okay, you had your voice, all right? I'm explaining how this will work.
No, you're right.
I'm explaining how this is going to work, how this could possibly work. If it doesn't happen like this, if you guys try to cage Russ up and say, Russ, you only get 15 minutes a game, and then
okay, hold on, slow down.
Something to say in the locker room.
Okay, hold on. All right, Kev, you were doing well up until that comment right there. So come on, I'll give you a chance to run that back a little bit. You know damn well they're not going to run Westbrook less than 20 minutes in the game. He'll probably play no less. He'll definitely play 30 a game. There's no doubt about that. The thing is, what the point I'm trying to make till I was rudely interrupted
by the Rams dude with the Rams colors up there.
Oh boy, here we go.
If they take the step back and allow Russ to continue to flourish as he has and play how he has, and compliment Russ, your boy, they have Howard and Gasol. their minutes until they're playing legitimate big men may have to be reduced. Move AD to the 5. Allow James to, because what happened in Houston is they got rid of Capella because they needed to open the floor up for Russ, right?
Right.
They needed to open the floor because Russ is not a 3-point shooter. He's not he's really a mid-range shooter at best, right? So they got rid of Capella. So having Howard and Gasol down low is not going to work for that offense. Having AD playing on the wing like he likes to do anyway, and then you have LeBron dancing around the elbow or a little bit outside like he likes to do anyway. Now that opens the floor up for Russ, allow still Russ to penetrate, and now he's going to be collecting those assists. So Russ will still have the ball in his hands. Russ is still going to be dominated the show. That's how that would work. And then you have the Malik Monks, then you have Kendrick Nunn to come in and spell Russell. But that same philosophy will work. If they have Russell, the ball in LeBron, and this is a challenge. So that now this is a big ask to take the ball out of LeBron James' hands. LeBron, now you're going to be playing off ball because you have to admit, I think both of you guys would admit that asking Russell to play off ball doesn't make the sense that it would ask to make LeBron play off ball. But now you're taking the ball out of some of you guys' fantasy guy after Mr. Space Jam. You're taking the ball out of his jam. How does that work? How does that fit with his ego?
What's up with the shots, Doc? Like, I mean, you can't get through the what you talk about without shots.
I'm just talking. How is that gonna go over when you take the ball out of LeBron's hand? But I see that's the only way that would work.
You make point. That you know what, you make a lot of good points, and I'll go down point by point. You made some really good points. Cleve, chime in if I'm saying something wrong. So basically, what you're saying is LeBron James and AD have to take a step back, right? You said they have to drop down to as little as 25 minutes to 28 minutes a game. That's not going to happen. Right, maybe AD will be around 30 minutes a game, 28 minutes a game. That's more likely. LeBron, come on, man. That's just not going to happen. You're talking about a guy, and I'm saying this as a LeBron guy. You're talking about a guy that has mastered the art of being able to rest while in a game.
Oh, really? And
right, so we know that.
No defense that you guys have. We didn't.
What do you mean? I'm not really worried about that because what you're skipping over on that end is that there's a defensive staff there, right? So even though the defense last year, if you go back and check it, and this, the defense was top 5. Yeah, the 3-point shooting was number 25, and that is the heart of the.
You had Alex Caruso.
Oh yeah, we gonna miss Alex Caruso. Yeah. No. Okay, so with that said, so you said let Russ cook, and you make a good point. Russ is most likely good for about 40 wins because that's what he averaged in OKC even without Paul George, and that's what he does, right? He sets people up to be successful, and I honestly I hope that does happen to a certain extent. Now, where you lost me is you're saying that taking the ball out of LeBron James' hands. So I'm going to give you two examples of why it's good and it's bad and why it's still going to work. First, when LeBron went to Miami the first year, before the playoffs, before the finals, all that stuff, whose team was it? Whose team did everybody say it was? It was Wade County, right? It was Wade County, right? Wade County. I'm just saying.
There's not a guy on that team comparable to Dwayne Wade.
I'm just saying. I'm giving you an example. Let me just follow the example, not the actual person in itself. Okay. Just follow the example. So what happened was all the people that said, "Oh, LeBron can't play off the ball. Oh, he can't do this. He can't do this without the ball." Dwayne Wade was one of the he basically was the one feeding LeBron all of his assists, whether they were dunks, alley-oops, or 3-point shots, which you keep skipping over. LeBron played off the ball when he was in Cleveland. Now, with that said, what we've seen, or not Cleveland, I'm sorry, with the Heat, when he went back to Cleveland, what we saw was a guy that is one of the best decision makers in the playoffs when it comes to managing the pace of games and getting the most out of his players. Now, a lot of people didn't like this, but with Kyrie Irving was running the show before LeBron got there, they won nothing. Like zero. They were in the lottery every single year.
Yes.
LeBron had to come to his defense.
Yes.
Twice.
Yes.
Kyrie, when they asked him, hey, Kyrie, why did you have 26 points with no assists? Mm-hmm. Right. Guess who came to his rescue? LeBron James. Like, we're not even going to talk about that. That's what leaders do. We're going to get better. We're not even going to worry about that. But what he recognized is that Kyrie was Kyrie's gifted. Like, we're not trying to say Kyrie's not even close to being a bum. He's one of the best players in the league. But his decision making was not leading to winning games on a regular basis. So that's why he had the ball in his hands most of the time. Now, in the end, let's really get into it. LeBron and Kyrie ended up splitting time with the ball at the end of each one of those finals that they were in, if you remember. They dribbled about the Kyrie dribbled more, but they had the same possession time. So you need to go back and see that because I know that. Now, whoever has the matchup. No. It's about matchups. So, and here's an example for you too. You guys always say, "Oh, Kyrie won the championship." Who recognized the matchup to say, "Hey, you know what? We're missing. We're both missing on both sides. We're both missing shots. Let's isolate Kyrie. Get him that shot against Curry. Curry's their weakest defender. Who pointed that out? It was LeBron. It was LeBron. So when you guys want Jordan and Kobe and all these other guys and KD to take the last shot every single time, which it doesn't happen. So now LeBron recognized saying, "Hey, he has the mismatch. Get him on Curry and give him a shot against the weakest guy." So that's what leaders do.
So now we're going back to this revisionist history from 5 years ago.
He said revisionist history.
So now
we can stay present day, Cam. So you don't seem to want to understand what's really going on here.
No, exactly.
So Clint, now what you're doing is you're going to say Russell Westbrook, comparing Russell Westbrook today in 2021 to Kyrie Irving back in 2016. That's what you're doing.
You're missing I just told you, don't go off of the player, go off of the actual situation itself. The situation itself tells you that LeBron is ready to actually adjust when need to adjust. 51-point game. That happened 3 years ago. 51-point game. They were down one, and basically he had Curry on him, and then he had two other people just waiting for him to drive because he had just drove to take the lead in that finals. And guess what he did? He saw George Hill break into the hoop wide open, and he gave him the ball to get a free layup. He just happened to get fouled and missed one of the free throws. Why? What? Don't.
Clint, you cut off for a minute, but I want.
Sorry about that.
First of all, Clint, I want to thank you for coming on Voice of Fans podcast to have the discussion. I knew you would be passionate about it. I knew you'd be passionate about it. I knew Clevon needed some help because I'd have just.
Whatever. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we did it, Clint.
Oh man, Clint. Exactly, Clint. I got your back, Clint. I got your back, Clint.
Listen, hey, let them know where they can find you. Let them know where they find you on social media. I lost him. Clint, where you at, Clint?
Is that me? Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Can you hear us? Yeah, okay, we lost him. So Clevon, when he comes back, we'll get him on. Let the people know where they can find you, Clevon.
At Clevy Wonder on Twitter, Clevon Steele on Instagram.
And you can, as always, you can find me What's Good in Sport. That's What's Good, the letter in Sport, or Voice of Fans on Instagram. I think this conversation has been really good. It's been really passionate. Clevon, I'm gonna give you a chance to kind of speak for Clinton on the Lakers side of kind of how you see this adjustment. I gave you what I think. And how I think it could work, but I just don't think it's going to happen. Go ahead with your synopsis.
There's going to have to be some adjustment on both sides, Cam. I mean, everyone is going to have to adjust their game down a little bit, but Russ is going to have to adjust his game down the most, and not only his game, but his mindset. Russ always goes into every game thinking that he's the best matchup because he's always the physical mismatch on the court. This time, he's going to have to look to AD. He's going to have to look to LeBron in that order, and quite possibly someone else is having a good game. Usually, he looks to himself first, and then he looks around. And if he doesn't trust the other dudes, well, then it stays with him.
So
if he has somebody like a Beal, okay, you can get some runs sometimes. If you got somebody like a Harden, okay, you can get some runs sometimes.
So
him and KD had conflicts multiple times.
Wayne
this
Ellington,
being his 13th season in the league and understanding the situation that he's in, I think that he's in a great opportunity to show that he can adjust his game.
Yeah. So Wayne Ellington, Malik Monk, he's been with Carmelo already. Carmelo Anthony. You think those guys are enough to convince Russ to pass the ball?
Well, he did, didn't he? I thought he did pass the ball.
Not even pass the ball. Let me take that back. Let me take that. That wasn't the right to give up good shots. To give up good shots and not get his shot. You think he's gonna?
Russ has always had a problem understanding that just because he has a physical mismatch against the person that's guarding him does not mean that the shot that he's taking is the best shot.
So that basketball IQ is what you're talking about. It's
not about basketball IQ. It's about him thinking that he is always the best option.
That's basketball IQ passing the.
No, that's not basketball IQ. That's just the hubris at Russell Westbrook and the intensity that he's always played with.
Okay. Hubris. That's a good word.
You know
that's a good word for it.
You can't play with Kevin Durant and think that you're the best player on the court or even on your team.
I think that is,
you know what I'm saying, and not have a little bit of an ego.
I think that equates to basketball intelligence. So all of a sudden you're telling me not
maybe a little bit it is.
We saw Allen Iverson do it quite a bit over the course of his career. No one ever questioned him, having IQ.
I think they did when he went to when he went to Dallas
Denver.
or Denver and Memphis. They were questioning, why can't you just be a point guard? Why can't you think about it? You're not the star anymore. Pass the ball to somebody else.
He wasn't playing. He wasn't playing with the likes of LeBron James, Anthony Davis, Carmelo Anthony.
Here we go. He was playing. He did play with Carmelo.
He played with Carmelo for a minute. It was a hot minute.
Before he was the 10th greatest scorer in the history of the National Basketball Association. During that process.
So again, Westbrook played with Carmelo in OKC. So we understand that. He understands who he is. Did his game change when he played with Carmelo? I don't remember a whole lot of Carmelo going off for 30 in OKC.
That's not quite the same as playing with LeBron and AD.
It's a little different. What you're missing is Paul George was second in the MVP voting with Russ. You remember that, right? That year? Okay. I do. Yeah. Okay. So,
oh my goodness.
What did I say wrong? Did I say something wrong? Did I give too many facts? That's a fact. He was second in MVP voting playing with Russ in OKC. I remember that year because Dame put him out of the playoffs that year. I remember that.
I think it was 30. That was a good point. That was a good point, Clint. That might have been your best point in our.
You see, he throws those compliments around like manhole covers.
So, with that being said, damn, that was a good point. That was a good point, Clint. You got to stuck.
You know what I mean, dog? So, I mean,
the basketball IQ that Clint you harped on for years. All of a sudden, you guys expect that to get better. I just don't see. He can't be a number 3, man. Somebody else is going to have to fall back and become that.
Well,
that's going to be Anthony Davis' role.
He doesn't necessarily consider him size. He's never considered himself a 2, much less a 3. So his thoughts are always going to be there. Here's the delicate massaging that has to happen. What has to happen is he has to say yes to the roles that he and LeBron and AD agreed upon in the meeting, right? Then what has to happen with LeBron and AD is that they have to convince him that he is playing those roles, especially when things are going well. When things are going well, maybe Westbrook's not scoring 25 a game or something like that, but things are going well. They have to convince him that he's still not a number 3 option. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how all this plays out, man. This makes basketball, the NBA just. I still think, fellas, I think they can go back to that line. NBA is fantastic when they had in what was that 1988.
Oh, dude, how far are you going back on that?
NBA is fantastic. That line is still relevant. That still lives.
That's another conversation, because from what I understand, the NBA is just ruined with a bunch of super teams now, and we all know who's going to win. Even though Milwaukee won, and nobody really thought that they were going to win except for the people in Milwaukee at the time. So I mean, hey, preseason it was supposed to be the Nets and the Clippers. Last year it was supposed to be the Clippers in Philly or Boston or whoever it was.
That doesn't make it any less fantastic, because even though there were some injuries, I don't know who didn't tune in to watch Phoenix and Milwaukee. I don't know who didn't tune in to watch that. I mean, although it was two kind of quote unquote small markets, I mean, they were still. I think they were still compelling basketball. And I thought there was good basketball being played. Clint, before I let you go, man, I'm gonna ask you one question. And we had this topic came up from my guys came up with this topic. Clevon, you and I talked about it. Which American-born player can win an NBA MVP in the next 10 years?
Ooh. Oh, damn. That's a good question. I talked to somebody about this the other day, as far as when basically the European and the world rush came, where a bunch of Europeans started getting drafted just because they were more fundamentally sound than the AAU teams that we put our American players on. But I would say we could get somebody sooner than that, sooner than 10 years. Now, I mean,
who would it be? Who would it be? I'm just saying the question was 10 years. So I'm just saying who. I think it's more who could it be than the time span. I think I said Devin Booker. Clevon wasn't a fan of that one.
No, I don't believe Kevin. No, Devin Booker is not. He's not. Devin Booker's moniker.
We're talking about 10 years now. We're talking about 10
years.
Yeah,
I get it, but I mean his whole thing. Even though I mean, Mamba mentality. All the power to that for sure. But his whole thing is scoring. Like I don't think he'll ever get into the point where he's actually using that towards playing defense. Like let's just go to this year. Jokic, as slow as he is on defense, his team defense is actually pretty good. Like he shows in different things that he does. We all know he can score, but for that point, his fundamentals, his footwork is one of the best for any center that's in the league today. Right? So I mean that's what we're looking at as far as an MVP in the NBA, right? So I mean we had Embiid, and I mean to your question, Embiid's not born here, right?
Hold tight.
Yep. But anyway, so I mean, just say I'll continue with the point though. But I mean, that's a great point. I mean, you're looking at like cats like Booker. They're not the guy, right? I mean, they're not the guy. I mean, Paul George would probably be your best bet. That type of player, a two-way player, good fundamentals.
I still gravitate towards. I mean, I think KD and Steph are always in the conversation as far as winning an NBA.
KD and Harden, I would think initially Harden, but KD and Harden going to equal each other out.
They'll balance each other out for the votes for sure. Well, I'm just trying to think.
Steph Curry has a good chance to do it.
But Clay's coming back though, so Clay's going to take a little shine. If he's right, if Clay's right, he'll basically kind of take some votes from Curry, not as an MVP, but just as the fact that,
he had more help than
right. Exactly.
Just to kind of temper this conversation a little bit. Basically, my argument was I would take the field, and Cam would take Giannis, Embiid, Joker, and Luka. I feel those are the only 4 international players that can win an MVP.
For the most part, those are good. Those are good names. That right off the top of my head, I can't.
That's
I can't
kind of the
disagree
pool,
with that.
right?
Yeah.
So then you have those 4 versus the rest of the league. I'll just take the rest of the league.
Right.
I don't see anyone other than those 4 standing up as an MVP caliber player.
How close did we have Lillard to being an MVP? How close in the voting has he?
Relatively close.
Right. So
I think it will change his scenery and putting up big numbers and taking his team deep into the playoffs for sure.
That's the thing though, guys. I still want to talk about Lillard, man. We run really long, but Lillard does before the season start, Clint. Does Portland accept Ben Simmons for Lillard?
No.
And some draft picks or something?
No, they can't. It would have to be more. Philly would have to give them way more than that because Simmons stock is really low.
Would you give up Maxey? Would you get? Because now Lillard was supposed to be going to LA, right?
Yeah. Well, who? The Clippers or the Lakers?
Oh, he was going to be in purple and gold.
Okay.
Yeah, that was kind of in the works. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he shows up, that would be interesting. Him and Paul George playing together. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
Right. You're right. Exactly. They could do it. Don't say they can't do it.
No.
Like Ballmer has endless pockets.
That would work. And Ballmer's friends with the wife. Maybe Ballmer need to call up the Miss Allen and say, hey, before you sell the team, let me go ahead and get that.
No.
I
have it on good authority. I can't disclose my sources because I do have a good source. The thing that they're building in Inglewood is massive. It's absolutely massive. It's almost on the scale of what you said Golden State, their stadium is going to be like. That's what Ballmer is building. It's not just the stadium, but he's building around the community. Stadium.
No, what I'm saying is Ballmer he has some ties in the Northwest.
Yeah.
You know Paul Allen on
the Microsoft fraternity, sure, yeah. Solid.
And the Trailblazers.
Yeah.
I know the wives talk. He can because Paul Allen's gone and they're gonna sell the team.
Yeah.
The Portland, if they're not a for sale sign in the yard already, they're going to sell that team. And Paul Allen can just say, "Hey, before you sell that team, let me go ahead and get that.
Steve Ballmer could say that.
I will guarantee you this, knowing some of the stuff that I've been told, especially when it comes to Portland. Portland is not that far away from Seattle as a fan base, and there is no way they're basically going to throw in what Milwaukee did, whereas when they sold the team, that there was a promise not to sell the team for 2 to 3 years to anyone that's out of state or was it something like that. That's definitely going to happen. Portland will not get rid of Rip City anytime soon.
No. I'm not talking about selling the team. I'm not talking about getting rid of the team. I'm talking about just having the connection for me to call you up and say, hey, I know you're getting ready to sell this team. It doesn't matter to you who's on the team. Why don't you go ahead and trade me Damian Lillard?
Oh, no, you can't do that. You know that's against the bylaws. You can't do that. That's against all the law. That's against all the NBA. That's against the players collective. That's against the bodying rule. That's tampering to the upteeth percentage.
If my wife calls your wife and says, let's work a deal, that has nothing to do with what's going on in the NBA. You know what I'm saying?
You know better than that. What do you know what happened to AK-47 and that little deal that they tried to pull off there in Brooklyn? They got fined to to high heaven on just that deal itself. You talk about a whole franchise.
You think Barber's worried about a fine?
It's not even about the fine though. It's because they'll take draft picks and they'll go deep into your organization to try to bury you, and he can't afford to do that. Especially Portland can't afford to do that, and Barber can't be a part of that going to Inglewood, especially with the money that he's putting into that. Yeah, I mean that's sneaky. That's a sneaky way to do it, and I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but too many people. Dude, they vetoed the Chris Paul trade.
Okay, that was you know how that happened, though. I mean, that was.
I know, but still, that's on a lower level.
They're coming out of the owners' meeting when they just agreed 20 minutes ago. No, there won't be any trades going on.
Hey, Cam, Damian Lillard missed his window to come to LA.
He's
sorry. I'm sorry. He's going somewhere else. It's not going to be LA.
We're talking about the NBA, who could be a potential NBA caliber player. I mean, the Portland just don't have enough, and without they don't have enough for
no.
I mean, they don't have enough. I mean,
no.
I guess he can go. I guess he can have a season where he's doing 35-12 and 35-12-8, and that might give him some consideration. But at the end of the day, they're going to win 45 games and get bounced in the first round and be a sixth seed and say, hey, he's had a great career. How long is he going to put up with that before he demands a trade? And he probably should have demanded a trade a month ago, and it might not be Russell Westbrook in LA.
Well, I mean, Cam, you got to. Yeah, I mean, let's be honest. I'm not gonna say myself because I'm old school, but I've kind of grown out of it. I know enough of basics of the NBA business today that all this, it's nice to have a small market win the championship and all that stuff. I went back and did some research. So from 1980 to today, an average of 2 small markets win the championships every 10 years. Every 10 years, right? Two small markets. If you don't count San Antonio, they did a really good job with picking up R.C. Buford and basically a Hall of Fame coach that basically held that down for nearly 20 years, right? Well, other than that, that's an aberration. Lakers, Celtics.
If you take Toronto and Milwaukee out, it's been San Antonio,
exactly.
Lakers and Celtics, right?
Right, exactly. Golden State kind of disrupted that, but they're kind of top. What are they? Top 12 or something like that. Yeah, I mean, but Cleveland's different. Yeah. Well, come on. You know why? I mean, if you really want to say the man's name once, in a positive light, we know why Cleveland made it, right? So, but other than that, it's all big markets.
Kyrie had a hell of a championship.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen before the end of the season. He's gonna say something good about LeBron James.
Let the people know where they can find you, man.
Man, I'm on MJ Lover 23. Oh, you didn't even know that.
Wow.
MJ Lover 23, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Just look up Clint Lomax. You'll find me.
You haven't changed. You haven't changed that?
No, dude. Right now. Hey. Let's be honest. Jordan is the GOAT. He's the GOAT. There's no disputing that.
Say that one more time for the people in the Northwest.
However, it's not bad being number 2 all time.
Hey, that's right. I mean, so where's Cole? Where you got Cole at?
He's in the top 10. He's probably number 10.
What?
That's another story altogether too. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. You need to have me, and you need to have our fam Otis, aka Hater, on too, because he'll explain to you my I have a different relationship when it comes to Kobe Bean Bryant. There's some things that I wish he would have done to win more championships, but I'll tell you one thing. I never missed any game that he played. Not one. I watched every single game he ever played.
So
I could see.
Yeah, we're gonna have you back on the show after that, man. But thank you for tuning in. We're gonna get on to this next topic, man. We appreciate you.
Thanks, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Clee, hold it down, baby. Hold it down, Clee.
You know I will. You know I will. Represent.
All right, y'all.
All right,
thank you, sir.
Clevon, how you doing? That blew me away. He said he's in the top 10. Did I hurt you?
I was curious to hear who was in front. I'm always somewhere between 5 and 7. 10 sounded a little low, but I was very curious to hear who would be in front.
I didn't know you had them that low myself. So we're gonna have that discussion. We're gonna have that discussion where you got Kobe 5 and 7. Oh my goodness. All right, Clevon, let's get this going, big guy. This week, back in this day in history, or this week in history, man, slavery was declared unlawful by the British Empire, 1834, August 1st. Marcus Garvey, in August 2nd, 1920, presents his Back to Africa program in the city of New York City, actually. August 4, 1985, Rod Carew got his 3,000th major league hit in 1985. August 4th, 1986, it was mentioned earlier. I think Clinton brought up the United States Football League, the USFL, caught off its 1986 season after winning their token damages and its antitrust laws against the NFL. I think every owner got $1, if you remember that.
Yeah,
every owner. They won the lawsuit, but it was only given $30 at the time. Every owner got $1, and it said, "Yeah, you guys can't compete. So you guys just give it up, man. Quit." Clevon. My bad. Clevon, the Locks and the Dipset. Did you watch the verses? Did you see the verses?
I have been hearing about it, man. I am late to the party. I hear it was epic. I hear Al-Qaeda Jada just tore it down, man.
That's exactly what happened, man. I had to watch it last night. I'm so I'm happy. I'm happy for my sister. I was able to get credentials and send my sister to watch it, but I was so jealous I couldn't be there myself. But yeah, it's just that Jadakiss is the star of the show, bro. He was the star of the show, and just let them guys have it. Like he let it have. You got to tune in. You got to watch it. You already heard what happened, so I'm not telling you anything different. I mean, you know the hits. If you just list them, you could. I'm sure you could just think of multi Jadakiss hits versus Dipset hits. So that shouldn't have been hard to do. Just go on down the line. But it was entertaining. It was very entertaining to watch. The first one with fans in the building, and as I stated, my sister was there, so that was great. Team USA, they get the rematch against Team Australia tomorrow night. Can they rebound?
Yeah.
They rebound big? Like they did. I think that was a 10-point loss, 10, 12-point loss, if I remember correctly. Like
I don't know how big it will be. It depends on Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. It depends on how they kind of show up.
Okay. So what do you think about Simone Biles coming back and winning the bronze is on the balance beams? I mean, the balance beams, come on, there's on that 4-inch beam. I don't know if you ever been on a balance beam. Have you ever been on a balance beam? Let's start there.
Been on a balance beam.
And yeah, you didn't last too long.
Started to stand. Started to stand and walk.
You know what? So I'm gonna tell the story. I'm gonna tell the story. The balance beam is 4 inches wide. 4 inches wide. 4 inches wide, right? It's 4 feet off the floor. So when you get on a balance beam, you look at it, you don't think, okay, 4 feet off the floor, you fall, you land on your feet. Sure, you do. Yeah, you'll land on your feet most times, but a lot of things can happen when you're on that beam. And then just think about when you're doing flips and you're trying to stand. I don't know if you can stand on your hands, but you roll over and do a handstand and then bring your feet back down on the beam. Like that. That's some talent in itself. Clevon, I worked a job in Florida where we were building a bridge across water. Okay, and part of the bridge they build it up with I-beams that are 6 inches wide. And but in Georgia, where I was at, it was right on the line, Georgia-Florida line. It would in the morning, the tide is in, and our boots and our pant legs are getting wet because the tide is in. But in the afternoon, that tide is out, and now there's a 20-foot difference between. If you were to fall in the morning, you fall right into the water. If you fall in the afternoon, you fall 20 feet before you hit the water. Man, I had to crawl across some beams, man. I had to crawl across those beams, bro. It was obviously a lot easier to do in the morning because, again, it's just the psychological thought process. If you fall right into the water. In the afternoon, I had to crawl against those beams, bro. Those beams are 6 inches wide. And some of these white boys is just running across them, just dancing across them. I'm like, yeah, y'all do your thing, man. I'll get there when I get there. Don't worry about it. Go do what you need to do. I'll get there when I get there. But I say that to say, man, when you get up on those balance beams, and any of these girls, man, you don't have to be a Olympic bronze medalist to be impressive on these beams. You get up on a beam and you do your little routine, period. That's impressive alone. So I congratulate her for kind of regaining her mental capacity to get up there and to win a bronze or to win a medal let me back up, to continue a routine and then win a bronze. That's kudos. That's good for her. But should she be celebrated for winning a bronze medal? That was my initial question.
I think given the adversity that she's had to go through, just to kind of be able to kind of block out all the noise and have an opportunity to, again, I mean, I think that sometimes in America, we are spoiled by the accomplishments of our athletes and sometimes don't put it in the proper perspective. I don't think a bronze medal is anything to sneeze at, even if you're someone that is projected to win gold. At the prime peak of your career. Certainly this is not an event that we had unrealistic expectations about where she was going to finish. I mean, I personally didn't think she was going to medal. So
okay, is that Olympic game on right now? I'm just checking something. I just got an alert that it is Team USA is playing right now. Were you aware of that? Halftime Australia's up. It's not on my TV.
Well.
But halftime is America. I thought it was Thursday. But yeah, Olympic gold medals, nothing to sneeze at. You're absolutely correct. So it was just the first thing that came on my mind. Are we celebrating kind of mediocrity now that she gets celebrated? So the way you framed that was pretty good. Like she, there was some adversity that she needed to overcome. So kudos to her for overcoming them. That's interesting. I did not know this game was on right now. So let me turn this on, man, just so I can keep us updated. Also, Clevon, I don't know if I'm letting my bias. I'm trying to refrain from being biased. Now, covering the Chargers the last few years, I want to speak positively of them because I was covering them. But with the coach, Anthony Lynn, there's not a lot to be celebrating. You got to listen to what I sent you, the videos I sent you, because Brandon Staley, man, has been nothing less than impressive. Since he got the job, he's highlighted people development. and how he wants to become a better teacher to teach football, and then a coach so he can coach football and kind of get players in the right position. It's been very different than what you might expect from Bill Parcells, My Way or the Highway. It's been very different of what you might expect from a Jimmy Johnson. Um, yelling in the ear. I remember, the clip of when the kid said, "I have asthma." And Jimmy says, "We'll take that shit to up there to the upper field. We play football down here. We got real men down here, right?" And then continue practice. It's very different from this style of coach where he wants to build a relationship. And I'm familiar with this thought process through being a sales manager and leading the sales team. So in business, I understand the philosophy. Um, I certainly understand the philosophy, and I'm with the philosophy. But coming from a football coach, it's odd to see. It's odd that this guy really wants to get to know this person before the football player. And by knowing and understanding the person, he feels he can put the football player in a better devise a scheme to put the football player in a better role. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do, and it's a very difficult position to be in just because of the nature of the game and how often personnel turns over. Just to have that ability you would have to have that ability to do that fairly quickly, um, and then be able to cut it off just as quickly. So,
well, we'll see if this happens because he's preached this since he took over the job in January, and understand being that people person philosophy, it seemed to go very well. We had a couple players, Linval Joseph, who played for the Minnesota Vikings a lot of years, won a Super Bowl championship with the Giants. Said he might be the best coach he's played for because he cares about you as a person. He mentioned that we had. Justin Jones, a defensive lineman, say echoes similar thoughts because he actually cares about you as a person. That you're more willing to kind of work harder for him, which is impressive. That's very impressive to have your coach think about it. So I asked him that today, and then you'll hear his response in the link that I sent you. So I think it's very telling. Also, so I'm not trying to let this sway my opinion because I really want to see how that plays out on the field. And when they're down, 17-0, like what's the response from him? What's the response from the players? How that plays out then. Also, they have a revamped offensive line. They got the offensive center from the got uh, so they got some more offensive have rookie. So, and then they obviously have the receivers. Williams, and offense looks impressive. On the defense side of the ball, you're familiar with Joey Bosa. They got Kenneth Murray, who, man, I mean, my dick got hard when I heard Kenneth Murray talking about putting his hands on people and flying through explosion people, and he wants to hurt people. I got excited when I heard a linebacker talking like these guys still want to get out there and do this. And then obviously, they have a lot to be excited about. I just so interested to see how this plays out on the field. Obviously, they're playing a tough division. We're going to break that down their division over the next couple of weeks, but these Chargers, man, how do you see them from afar, or do you need to look more into them? Help me out.
you look a little bit more into them. I think they got Justin Herbert, new year or first year coach, a defense that has had trouble staying healthy, a running game. I'm not quite sure where they're going to get the production from, and I mean, forever and a day, they've been throwing to the same receiver. Not as explosive as he used to be. I mean, I like Keenan Allen, but I mean, he's just kind of Keenan Allen,
So I asked Sean had minister so that from weeks ago. And guys, fans, you can go see my videos and my interview with these coaches and players. You can see them on YouTube, on Voice of the Fans on YouTube. You'll see all my interviews with the players post practice here over the last 7 days. But says, you're overlooking him. You're overlooking Mr. Consistency. I asked Merriman, what is he?
I'm not overlooking him. I mean, he is someone that was always going to get you 80 to 100 catches, and when he's healthy, he's going to give you your all. But I mean, it's just
what I mean. That's 80 to 100 catches. That puts him over the last 10 years. Probably number 4 without even looking at the list. That probably puts him on number 4 behind Julio Jones, behind Hopkins. What other receiver you want to name? He's a couple receivers behind that person. I mean, he's in the top 5 receivers in the game still, because he's going to be there. Now they got a quarterback with a big arm who can throw to him. He's still gonna shine.
5-6 years ago, maybe I would have agreed with you. He's been out there for a minute.
This is what is it? But yeah, he's been so I'm interested. Obviously, I covered him, so I see him on a regular basis. But I want you to check out those videos that I sent, and then let me know what you think. Clevon, let's talk about the Major League Baseball, man. They had a big where NBA was killing on a free agency. Major League Baseball had the big trade deadline. How did Dodgers end up with Max Scherzer
and Trey Turner? Yeah, they did have to give up their top 2 prospects in their minor league system, but I mean, the Dodgers print money and they'll get more prospects. So it's a all-in type of mentality with them, and being the defending World Series champions, do what you got to do.
Does that just lock them into another World Series championship?
One more time.
Locking up Scherzer, does that cement them for another World Series championship? Did that just lock them in?
They play in the NL West, where they're not even the best in their division. The Giants have a better record, and the Padres arguably have just as much talent.
So that doesn't lock them in there. So anybody think that they're gonna win the division or win another title is bananas, is what you're saying?
No, it's certainly helps their chances for it, but it's not a lock. Even with Kershaw and Scherzer at the top of their rotation.
They're three in the division in the National League. I mean, they are behind the Giants, but only the Giants and the Brewers are ahead of them.
I think the Padres are right on their heels. I mean, they're far from running away with the division. I mean,
okay.
They're gonna have to play it out, and then once they get to the playoffs, they still have to,
So
get past some really good teams.
Are you guys up in Seattle still smarting over with this?
The Graveman trade was tough, man. I'm not gonna lie to you; it took a week or so to kind of get over it, but fortunately, Abraham Toro has made it almost seem worthwhile. He's been scorching the ball. He's already got 4 home runs since he's been up here. He's hitting like 450 since the trade. So almost making Jerry DiPoto look like a genius.
So the Mariners are, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the win column in the American League. They're 7.5 games back. They're 7.5 games back, where 2 weeks ago there were 2 games back. Remember? You're telling me they're 2.5 games back. Now they're 7.5 games back.
No, I think they still are like 3.5 games back in the wild card. I just don't think you're reading the stats correctly, but that's okay.
What do you mean? They got 51 losses. There's 7 teams ahead of them with less losses. What do you mean? I'm looking right at it. They're 7.5 games back.
You should probably try looking at their winning percentage and seeing if they're one of the top 6 teams.
They're there's one. They're 532. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams ahead of them with better winning percentage. The Rays, the Red Sox, Yankees, the Blue Jays. I know they just beat the Rays. The White Sox, the Astros, the Athletics are all ahead. That all have better records.
So they should be about 3.5 games in back of the.
I don't know what 3.5
I mean,
games. I don't know how you keep getting 3.5 games. I'm looking at 7.5 games back.
Okay, well, whatever. I'm not going to argue with you.
Okay, well, it's a Mariners.
I'm just saying.
It's the Mariners. I mean, it's not even worth the discussion.
Yeah, it's not worth the discussion right now.
Yeah. So we'll see what they do, man. We'll see how they finish. Clevon, before we go, thank you for your participation, man. I know it's a long show. I know a lot been thrown at you. You kind of, you're seething over there. I know you're not happy with the way some of the discussions played out today, but I think you understand kind of what I'm saying, that you guys can't expect something to happen when this guy hasn't been a complimentary player all his whole
out
career.
of his nature, right?
So all of a sudden now you want this guy to no longer to be ball dominant.
Rein it in just a little bit.
You want his basketball IQ to grow, overnight here. Like, I mean, some of this is not possible. So we'll see how things transpire. It's going to be exciting season to watch. But once again, Clevon, I want to thank you as always for your participation. I want to leave you guys with a quote here. Never give up. Failure and rejection are the first step to succeeding. So that's something you can, let Russ know. Don't give up, man. You keep working at it. Keep working at it. You can succeed one. You can succeed eventually. That's essentially what this is saying, man. So, Clevon, thank you for participating, man. Thank you for the time, and then we'll look forward to chatting with you next week.
My pleasure, bro.
All right, have a good one, Chief.